Hebdo will show a cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad bearing a sign saying Je suis Charlie, the slogan used to express support for those killed by gunmen last week. The publishers say they expect to distribute up to 3 million copies this week. Meanwhile, 10,000 troops will be on the streets of France by tomorrow night to try to stop another terrorist attack after the deaths of 17 people in Paris last week. They'll join 5,000 police who are being sent to protect Jewish sites and mosques. Network Rail are being accused of letting down disabled commuters in Bedfordshire. A lift system at Leighton Buzzard station is yet to become operational. The lifts had been due to open at the end of last year, as Sophie Celeria reports.
A fault developed on the emergency telephone line in one of the platform lifts at Leighton Buzzard station, which stopped the lifts from being able to be opened, leaving mothers, disabled users and the elderly forced to get their train from elsewhere. Network Rail says they do not know when the issue will be fixed and say they're working on the problem with London Midland.
A referendum could be held in Bedfordshire over the amount of tax the public pay to fund the police force. The Police and Crime Commissioner wants to increase tax by nearly 16%. That would mean people in Bedfordshire would pay between 32 and 48 pence extra each week, depending on their council tax band. Ollie Martins says he thinks people won't mind paying a bit more for increased police resources.
Clearly, the next 3 weeks before I actually set the budget is about me finding out what the public think. The feedback I get a lot is that people are prepared to pay more locally for policing. And, you know, I'm going to test that out over the next 3 weeks, because clearly there's no point in having a referendum if the public are going to vote no.
Any unauthorised signs in Buckinghamshire are due to be removed over the next few months. Transport for Buckinghamshire has decided that advertising and business display signs can be a hazard, and they plan to take them all down. The owners of the signs will not be fined, but will have to pay £50 if they want them back, otherwise they will be destroyed. They would also like the public to report any signs that are blocking pathways or distracting drivers. And the weather forecast, it'll be a rainy morning for most, with showers heavy in places. They should die out by mid-morning, leaving a mainly dry day with highs of 4 Celsius. That's 39 in Fahrenheit. BBC Three Counties Radio News. I'm back with more at 6:30.
There's no more Fanny.
Morning, guys. Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. 3 minutes past 6. Is it Tuesday? It's Tuesday today. My son's 5th birthday. Who'd have thought we'd live so long? Well, I kind of hoped I would live to see the... Boylie's back.
Yes.
OK, that's all. You got anything else to say?
Despite your best efforts. I heard what you said.
What?
Yeah, I heard what you said.
No. We flew without you. We really shone.
Good, so can I go home?
Aye. Lots coming up on the show. Street lights that don't light, disabled lifts that don't lift, and a dealie who don't dealie in fiction, only fact.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sometimes with those menus, you just got to sail through it. You can't stop and think. You've just got to go super fast.
Since when did you think? Oh, was that out loud?
Okie dokie. It's going to be like that. You missed me. You can't kiss me, so you're dissing me. And you're really annoying me as well.
Okay.
So that's that. I'll start with a song, shall I?
Go on.
I would have given you all of my heart, but there's someone who's torn it apart, and he's taken almost all that I've got. But if you wanna try to love again, baby, try to love again like her. First cut's the deepest, baby, I know. First cut's the deepest. 'Cause when it comes to me, I keep peace. When it comes to loving me, keep work. But again, but I know. Oh, yeah. The first cut is the deepest, baby. I know the first cut is the deepest. When it comes to feeling like he's hurt, when it comes to loving he's hurt, but when it comes to being loved, he's hurt. That's how I know the first cut is the deepest, baby. I know the first cut is the deepest.
Morning! It's been revealed. It's been revealed that Milton Keynes Council had serious safety concerns about... Sorry? What on earth is going on in there?
Kelly dropped something.
Oh, flipping it. It's been revealed that Milton Keynes Council had serious safety concerns about turning off streetlights months before 2 deaths on darkened roads. The authorities planned to look into the potential dangers of the plan, but failed to do so in time to stop the accidents. Catherine, you've got more on this. What do we know?
Well, before the election in May 2011, the Liberal Democrat administration of Milton Keynes Council decided that it would switch off every other streetlight. When the Conservatives took over, the councillor for Transport at the time, John Bint, says he asked for a full audit to be carried out, but not only did that not happen in time to prevent the 2 accidents, it didn't happen at all. Now, Sherwin Sakara died in October 2011, and a month later a 25-year-old pedestrian by the name of Gary Tompkins also died. He was hit by a car on an unlit street. The coroner ruled that darkness had been a factor in both deaths, and Milton Keynes Council responded by turning the lights back on.
We've been speaking to the mum of Gary Tompkins, haven't we?
Yeah, the next voice you'll hear is Julie Pascoe.
He went to a birthday party. He was walking along one of the main roads in Milton Keynes. The path lights and the main grid road lights were off. There was no other way for him to walk. And a van driver said he didn't see him because it was just too dark. He went to hospital, and unfortunately we had to turn the life support off. It's cost my son's life just for a few pounds.
Of course, Milton Keynes isn't the only area to switch lights off, is it? We've talked about it before on here.
There are places up and down the country, but a 3-year trial from 2008 to 2011 saw 1,600 streetlights switched off across Buckinghamshire. Again, there were 2 deaths, and they were attributed to darkened stretches of roads. Those happened during that time. Margaret Beeson died in January 2009, and the coroner said the driver in that case stood no chance at all. While the accident investigation showed the driver would have seen the victim just 25 to 30 metres away, wouldn't have seen them because of the darkness. Dr. John Bendor Samuel died in January 2011, and the inquest in that case was told that 9 out of 10 drivers in cars travelling at that speed with dipped headlights on a dark road would fail to avoid a collision.
Blimey.
According to a Freedom of Information request by the BBC, 45 local authorities with street lighting responsibility in England have or have in the past adopted part night lighting. That's when they turn some of the lights off for a large portion of the night. A handful of other councils have switched some of their lights off completely. Of those 45 to have adopted part night lighting, 25 didn't carry out a formal risk assessment before switching off the lights.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
I had great fun yesterday bullying, strong word, really bullying your youngest daughter. How old is she? 3?
She's 3, yes.
And
so
she wasn't. Well, no. I think they need to learn a lesson. early that the world doesn't revolve around them. It's not all about them.
Well, it started out with a fun game, didn't
Fun
it?
game,
A
fun
fun
game.
game. Let's annoy Mum.
Yeah.
Let's annoy Mum in the car.
And you were getting really annoyed. That was the joy of it.
I wonder why.
Well, we were doing
I
our
was
best.
driving.
Yeah.
And I had removed something from my children that had been irritating me whilst driving. And
Their voice box.
You put it back into their hands.
All will be revealed shortly.
Hey, mercy, woman plays a song and no one listens. I need help, I'm falling again. Play the drum a little louder, tell me I can live without her if I only listen to the band. Listen to the band. Weren't they good that made me happy? I think I can make it alone. Oh, mercy, woman plays a song and no one listens. I need help, I'm falling again. Play the drum a little bit louder, tell them they can live without her if they only listen to the band. Listen to the band. Now, weren't they good? They made me happy. I think I can make it alone. Oh, woman plays a song and no one listens. I need help, I'm falling again. Come on, play the drums just a little bit louder. Tell us we can live without her now that we have listened to the band.
Whoopee! It's the Jubilee!
Listen to the band.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Looking at the cameras on the motorways, it's looking quite quiet so far on the M1. Things moving nicely, no delays showing up, but it does look a bit wet on the road surface, so take care with the visibility might be reduced because of that and surface spray. Having a look at the A40 on the speed sensors, there are no delays at the moment through the roadworks at Temple Street, but that could get busy later on. And in Roxton on the A1 Great North Road, there are the roadworks at the Black Cat roundabout, so expect some delays there when it starts to get busier. On the trains, after the problems yesterday through Watford Junction, there is still some possible delays for London Midland, Southern and Virgin trains through Watford Junction. Samantha Brough, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yeah, I was rocking out to the Travis. I mean, nice one. 6:15. It's Tuesday, the 13th of January. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. It's emerged that no safety audit was carried out after Milton Keynes Council decided to switch off its streetlights 3 years ago. The lack of lighting has been linked to 2 deaths. The Charlie Hebdo magazine features a cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad on the front cover of its latest edition, the first since the attacks on its offices in Paris last week, in which 12 people were killed. 08459 455 555.
Counties Radio.
I have, listening to other radio stations and reading online, I've been surprised by the number of people who think that the people who got shot, murdered indeed, in Charlie Hebdo, deserved it. Have you come across this, Catherine? And the Muslim people, non-Muslim people, several people have come out and said on phone-in shows and online, of course, online, that they deserve to get shot.
I've heard some of them, yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, they kind of used the reasoning of, well, they had been warned that what they were doing was provocative,
Yep.
and they went further.
Isn't that crazy? I mean,
drawing a picture.
It doesn't. The magazine. I don't know a lot about the magazine. It sounds quite unpleasant. Although I've seen some cartoons where actually they're kind of on a righteous crusade against discrimination and what have you. There are elements of unpleasantness as well. But no one deserves to be at work and have someone walk in and gun them down. But there have been loads of... I couldn't believe it. I was listening to a phone-in show the other night on another radio station, and one guy phoned up and said, well, yeah, you know, they deserved it. And then loads of people phoned up and went, well, they were scumbags, really. And Jam Chowdhury.
Well, I mean...
banging on some nonsense. It's just incredible, isn't it, really? 08459 455 555. I throw it out there just to see if anybody else is going, well, yes, so what?
If you've missed any of the programmes here on BBC Three Counties Radio, you've missed things like this.
Justin and I went to Luton, holding each other's hands.
We've had looks. We've definitely had looks, haven't we?
We've had looks, and I saw a dad usher a child away from us.
But there is a way you can hear it all again.
David is no longer your name.
No, it does not. It's actually legally changed now, all above board, yeah.
You are now Hatcher.
I'm an action hero now, aren't I?
bbc.co.uk/Three Counties Radio, allowing you to listen to what you missed.
We often hear about the bravery of men in Bletchley Park, but what about the women?
And some locals were very concerned that their plans for the old Aston Martin site would be the death of the High Street.
Well, I think it's very good news for the High Street. The fear was that Newport would go exactly the way that other towns have gone.
bbc.co.uk/Three Counties Radio. Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Network Rail are being accused of letting down disabled commuters. The firm had promised to install lifts at Leighton Buzzard train station by the end of last year, 2014. And to be fair, the lifts are there. The lifts are there, aren't they, Catherine?
They are there.
But...
they don't work.
And Network Rail can't say when they will work. Anne Grant is a member of the support group Carers in Bedfordshire. This is good. Well, they've put the lift in, Anne, so that's something, isn't it?
That's a big step forward, I have to say. Good morning, Ian.
Good morning, Anne. But we don't know when they're going to be working, which seems, it seems rather incredible, really.
Yes, that is a problem. I must admit, lifts are only one of the hurdles wheelchair users have to face. The size of the lift is often a big problem. My husband's in a big, heavy electric wheelchair. He's a tetraplegic. And often he just can't get in the lift, which is a bad start. But access in general is just a huge problem for wheelchair users.
My mum's in a wheelchair, and it would have to be really extreme circumstances for me to try and take her on public transport, because it's just a nightmare, isn't it?
It is. It would be a nightmare for us, I have to say. I haven't been brave enough to try it, and my husband had his stroke nearly 23 years ago. And we are fortunate in that we have a wheelchair-accessible car, so I can take him anywhere we want to go and know we will get there and get home. But the prospect of travelling on a train is just a step too far for me at the moment.
So you've never attempted it?
I've never attempted it. The thing is, I think for a lot of people that design disabled facilities assume that if you're in a wheelchair, you can actually get out of it and go up a step or walk a few steps, and for most of them it's just not possible.
No.
And I think if they just had that mindset that when they disabled the facilities, they thought, OK, if we want to make it accessible for wheelchair users, it's got to have a level entrance or a ramped entrance and nice wide doors to get through.
I thought that accessibility had to be, was enshrined in law these days.
Well, it's getting better, but they don't always consult the disabled users. So, for example, disabled toilets, and this applies whether you're on a train, whether you're in a restaurant, or you're going to the cinema, they have lovely wide doors to get in, but the only trouble is most of them have inward opening doors, so you can get in, but you can't close the door behind you. And my husband says, what do we do now, sell tickets?
Well, yes, it could be a spectator sport, I suppose. It must be very frustrating for both of you.
It is. What happens is you tend to find places you can go and go there, and the ones you can't go, you just write off your visiting list. But it's getting better. It's definitely getting better. But if members of the public could be a little bit more aware and perhaps not park in the dropped curb area on a
flipping it! They do. Yeah, that's awful, isn't it? There's a reason that's there.
That's right. And sometimes you've got to go quite some way before you can cross the road, and then to find your exit blocked is a bit of a problem.
Hey, I had a good experience at the weekend. I took my mum to see the Kinks musical in a theatre in London. Now, when I take her out, she doesn't bring her electric wheelchair. She goes in a manual chair, so it's a bit smaller than your husband's. But every time I've taken her to a theatre in the West End, they've been beside themselves trying to help us. They've been fantastic.
Yes. It is getting better.
Yeah.
And the same with restaurants, and department stores are a bit of a problem. They often have the big double doors, which if they're not powered are a bit of a nightmare to hold both of them open and let your husband in without running over your toes. Automatic doors are the best, but the ones with the button access are obviously not very helpful for some wheelchair users because only one side works. So there's all sorts of things to consider. It's a constant learning exercise.
And listen, I appreciate your time this morning. Best of luck to you and your husband. And I know exactly what it's like, and it is hard work. 08459 455 555.
Can't help about the shape I'm in. I can't sing, I ain't pretty, and my legs are thin. But don't ask me what I think of you. I might not give the answers that you want me to. Now when I talked to God, I knew he'd understand. He said, stick by me and I'll be your guiding hand. But don't ask me what I think of you. I might not give the answer that you want me to.
Oh, they just wandered off like the strolling minstrels they were, fuelled by all forms of hallucinogenic drugs. The Fleetwood Mac there, ladies and gentlemen. Well done.
There's not enough recorders in popular music these days.
No. The recorder. The thing is, because this is the problem with the 70s and the 80s. One of the many problems is that we were all abused by recorders. That sentence came out completely wrong. It came out completely right. I didn't mean it like that.
We were all forced.
We were all.
Recorders were forced on us. Is that better?
No, that still presents a really horrible image.
Not just in the 70s or 80s, but in the 90s.
They carried recorder abuse through. Basically,
I had a treble.
A desk camp was the normal one, wasn't it? We were all forced to play recorders or listen to recorders at school, and so we associate them with horrible, horrible noises and being played badly and all being out of tune. When actually, they can be marvellous instruments. You get a recorder quartet going. They've got what's the big one? The one that's like the size of me.
Big recorder.
A bass.
You're just saying that.
No, I think it is. There's a treble, which is the medium one, which is one I used to play.
You got your desk cant.
Then you got that one.
What are you holding there?
You got that one, it's got like a plunger on the bottom.
Kels, look, it's funny. Now put it in your mouth and blow.
And you've got to use your tongue, haven't you?
I've just googled big recorder.
Yes, mate.
And it says recorders in common use, though the large ones are very rare.
Great facts there from Kelly. Wow.
Its actual name is the large one.
08459 455 555. I need to speak to parents or grandparents this morning. Are recorders still being foisted upon children these days? Is that happening?
Not yet, not in my house.
They used to be, you get them disinfected, wouldn't you? So they'd have a little taste of Dettol on them.
Didn't you have your own?
I think I did. I'm sure I remember that there being like a bag of recorders. Oh. And they came in like a little sock, didn't they?
Yeah, like a drawstring thing.
And but I'm sure I remember there being like a pile of them, and there being a bit of Dettol involved.
Oh, I bet they're not allowed to do that these days.
Probably not these days. Political correctness gone up hell in a handcart.
I know, like spit's wrong.
Health and safety, stick it. Well, you can't unless you've signed the form. 08459 455 555. Can we also compile a list of the worst instruments?
Ocarina.
Oh, no.
Have you played one of those?
No, it's a beautiful sound. I'm not playing an ocarina. And also, it's the Ocarina of Time. That's one for you retro gaming fans.
Bagpipes.
No.
Yep.
By the way, I get to decide what goes on the list. The bagpipes... Oh, gosh, there's something so spiritual about the bagpipes.
The bad pipes.
No, I went to the Queen Mum's funeral. Not the actual after thing. They didn't invite me to that. But I went and stood in the street and watched them go past.
You weirdo.
And there was something so haunting about the pipers as they came over there.
Oh, the pipers.
Is it because the sound should be dead?
There's... unbelievable. Right, there are so many phone-ins being triggered off here. Whose funeral have you attended that you weren't meant to be at?
Funeral crashing, call me now.
Funeral crashing, call me now. 08459 4555. Because we've all been to a funeral service or a crematorium, and they bang those bad boys out, don't they?
I told you about my gran crashing the buffet, didn't I?
No, go on.
I'll tell you after.
Well, we've all been... They bang those things out. So you turn up for your aunt's funeral.
You might think you're late.
You think, I'm late, and then you go, I don't recognise them. Flip it, I'm in the wrong thing. So you have to get out. Okay, so funerals you've crashed... in defence of the bagpipes and instruments that should be no more. I'm putting the saxophone on that list.
Oh.
It's an awful instrument. You know a record is desperate when a saxophone solo kicks in. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Checking the speed sensors in Milton Keynes, the A421 standing way is moving fine through the roadworks around the Kingston roundabout, but expect delays there later on. In Hitchin on Upper Tilehouse Street, there is some temporary traffic lights and roadworks going on in both directions at Purton Road, so expect some delays there too. Having a look at the cameras on the M1, that's starting to get quite busy, but all moving fine. The road surface does look quite wet, so take care for surface spray. And on the trains, after the emergency engineering works at Watford Junction yesterday, there are still possible delays today on London Midland, Southern Services and Virgin trains through Watford Junction. And if you're in Watford or if you're heading into London today, a 24-hour bus strike has begun. That's affecting 94% of the bus routes, so most buses. Tickets will be valid on the London Underground though. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6:30 with the headlines. I'm Barry Caffrey. It's emerged that no safety audit was carried out after Milton Keynes Council decided to switch off its streetlights 3 years ago. They were turned back on after a coroner said the lack of light was a contributing factor into the deaths of 2 people. The Charlie Hebdo magazine features a cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad on the front cover of its latest edition, the first since the attacks on its offices in Paris last week, in which 12 people were killed. It shows the Prophet bearing a sign saying Je suis Charlie. Network Rail are being accused of letting down disabled commuters in Bedfordshire. A lift system at Leighton Buzzard station is yet to become operational, despite being in place since last year. Any unauthorised signs in Buckinghamshire are due to be removed over the next few months. Transport for Buckinghamshire has decided that advertising and business display signs can be a hazard, and they plan to take them all down. And the weather, it'll be a rainy morning for most, with showers heavy in places. They should die out though by mid-morning, leaving a mainly dry day with highs of 4 Celsius. That's 39 in Fahrenheit.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Cristiano Ronaldo has won FIFA's Ballon d'Or World Footballer of the Year. Our senior football reporter Iain Dennis has more.
It's the second successive year and a third time overall that Ronaldo has claimed this prestigious award. He described it as an unforgettable year in which he scored 52 goals in 43 games in 2014. With just over 37% of the votes, Ronaldo was a convincing winner ahead of Lionel Messi and goalkeeper Manuel Neuer. German midfielder Nadine Kessler was named Women's Player of the Year, but there was no award for Ireland's Stephanie Roach for Goal of the Year. The prize instead went to Colombia's James Rodriguez for his goal against Uruguay in the World Cup.
Chelsea manager Jose Mourinho has until 6 o'clock this evening to respond to an FA misconduct charge in relation to comments that he made following Chelsea's game against Southampton on the 28th of December. Mourinho claimed that there was a campaign to influence referees' decisions against his side. Fast bowler James Anderson has told the BBC that he believes England will go a long way in the Cricket World Cup, which starts next month. Anderson thinks England will benefit from the lack of expectation going into the competition.
The danger for other teams is if they take us lightly, because we've got young lads who have very little pressure on them. They're just going to play with freedom, and I honestly think that we've got a great chance of going a long way in this competition, and I know people will scoff at that, but as an England team, I know the majority of us feel like that, and the fact that we have been written off will definitely work in our favour.
And the women's darts BDO finalist Fallon Sherrock says she enjoyed the experience at Lakeside. Sherrock, who's from Milton Keynes, was beaten 3-1 by Lisa Ashton on Saturday.
It was really exciting because the crowd was proper, they were proper into it, and it was really fun. I did enjoy it, even though I lost, but I didn't feel nervous at all. I just thought, do you know what, you just got to play. If they go, they go. If they don't, they don't. There's not a lot you can do about it. And luckily they went. It was just the doubles that were a bit unlucky.
BBC Three Counties Radio News and Sport. I'll be back with more at 7 o'clock.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Seriously, the saxophone, apart from the sexy saxophone player who is, you go and YouTube that, it's safe for work, I think. Yes, it is. It's hilarious. Apart from that, the saxophone is just, was it Kenny G? Flippin' heck, man. He should be tried in The Hague for crimes against musicality.
All those mood tapes.
Oh, man. This is one of the reasons, the two reasons I hated the 80s. Many reasons I hated the 80s. One, because I was a really geeky boy and couldn't get any action. But musically, the synthesised drums, the processed drums, and the saxophone. Every song had a saxophone solo.
Yeah, it was the universal language of sexiness.
Oh, it was just absolutely awful. So, we get the saxophone, that's off, that's gone. I'm not listening to, I can't remember her name, Thingy Bob. The bagpipes is a majestic instrument when played properly. A lone piper coming through the mist.
Haunting.
Oh.
Oboe, though, you can have that.
Oh, have you got no class?
People who play the oboe look like they're trying to inflate something that's got a hole in it.
They don't realise they need to squeeze the filter to open it up.
They're not opening the valve, are they?
No, no, the oboe's wonderful.
No, it's
ridiculous. I love a good old-fashioned a blowing quartet?
No, because I think it does to the face.
Lovely blowing quartet. 4 people blowing away. The quartet, you get a recorder. What other instruments would you have in there?
You mean a woodwind?
That's exactly what I mean. That's what I mean.
You get an oboe in that.
Yeah, I love that sound. Oh, God. Can we
It does
find...
ridiculous things to one's cheeks.
Kelly.
Do you want me to get the littlest oboe?
I believe she did a joke there. Just a small one, about that big. Could you find us...
No.
What are you doing?
A woodwind quartet song, please.
Do you know any?
No!
Hang on.
Go on.
You know, in Dulce Jubilo and all that.
Yeah, get in Dulce Jubilo.
What, is that a song or
Yeah.
do you just want me to go... Right, hang on.
You'll know it.
You'll know it.
What's it?
Oh, no, not that one. That one's rubbish.
That's it.
08459 455 555. We're trying to educate you, but we need education ourselves. I need a woodwind quartet. Oh, look, someone's phoning in. Look.
It's an oboist.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, they're gonna hate you.
Good.
They're gonna start hate. I'm getting hate from some idiot who thinks I don't attack Muslims enough. And you're gonna get hate from oboists.
If their complaints are as ineffective as they're blowing, then I'm not worried.
Oh, mate, you're so out of order on this. Woodwind quartets. That's a thing, isn't it? And it's a beautiful thing, and we should celebrate it. The bagpipes aren't going on the list. The saxophone is on the list. What other instruments are just truly... Oh, the guitar.
Oh, no, come on.
The guitar.
The guitar had the benefits of being both poppy and rocky.
Andy's in Luton.
Hello, Ian.
Hello, Andy.
Your comments about the saxophone are rubbish.
Well, hang on a second. Your phone is rubbish. Is your mouth anywhere near your mouth hole piece?
I'm in the car at the moment. That's why.
Okay, Andy. What? So we'll listen as hard as we can. You want to defend the saxophone?
Yes.
Go on then.
Baker Street, Jerry Rafferty, brilliant record, and pipes are pets as far as I'm concerned.
Right, Andy, you're banned from ever calling this show ever again. Jerry Rafferty, Baker Street, flipping it. That, Your Honour, is your first piece of evidence.
Panpipes.
Yeah, they're rubbish.
They're rubbish,
Are we dissing a whole tribe of people, a whole race of people? Who plays the panpipes? The Incas?
The Peruvians.
The Peruvians. Are we being anti-Peruvianist?
No, because there are enough people who love that stuff.
Fair play. I suppose they prove a point.
Oh.
Mate, that was excellent.
Thank you, mate. I just thought of that. Honestly, I hadn't planned that. I didn't know we were going to talk about that. I just thought of it. And said it. Panpipes, the saxophone.
The piccolo.
Mate.
Too small.
Oh, flippin' heck.
I think I'm gonna be sad. I think it's today. Yeah. The girl that's driving me mad is going away. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride, and she don't care. She said that living with me was bringing her down, yeah. She would never be free when I was around. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride, but she don't care. She's riding so high. Sure think twice, sure to do right by me before she gets to saying goodbye. Sure think twice, sure to do right by me. I think I'm gonna be sad. I think it's today. Yeah. The girl that's driving me mad is going away. She's got a ticket to ride.
talk to each other.
She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride, and she don't care. My baby don't care.
It's a bit turgid, that song, isn't it?
A bit, yeah.
It's a little bit turgid.
It's a bit twangy.
There are only 3 bad Beatles songs. There are only 3 bad Beatles songs. The rest are top-notch. But it's a little bit turgid, that one. I
don't like the Ringo songs. Don't?
Oh, Catherine, you make me laugh.
No, I don't like them.
Now it's time to say good night. Good night. Sleep tight. Dream sweet dreams of me. Dream sweet dreams of you.
You made that up your kids?
No, it's the Beatles. It's a Ringo song.
Oh.
Octopus's Garden is brilliant. And Yellow Submarine, yes, it's annoying. You try writing a nursery rhyme. Go on, try. You canny do it. You canny...
Could he do it?
You canny do it.
Could he do
You try writing a nursery rhyme, OK, that is loved by children 50 years later, that's lasted that long. You canny do it.
Could he do it? He had ages.
0845... He didn't write that. That's Lennon and McCartney.
Well, yeah, they used to pop them out like nobody's business.
08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Now, Kelly, we asked you... We'll look at the papers in a bit, although there's nothing in there. Although there's one story in there. It's a romantic story about 2 people having a fight. I'll get to that in a minute. We asked you to find a woodwind quartet, and you believe you found such a thing.
No, but I found something hilarious.
That wasn't the plan.
I know, but please just press play.
She's been sidetracked.
Now, Possums, let's hear each instrument play a variation of its own.
Oh, it's the Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra. This is famous.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
The clear, sweet little voice of the flutes, with its shrill little brother.
Listen to her giggling.
Hello.
This is a real thing. This is written by Benjamin Britten. You loving that? She's giggling like it. What's happening?
Kelly, isn't it? Oh.
You liking that?
Yeah.
Okay, do we carry on? I mean, this goes on for about 5 minutes.
A bit, yeah.
Oh, flipping heck.
Oboes have a gentle sound.
I hate the oboe.
I like the oboe. Listen to the oboe.
They can be forceful enough when the composer wants them to be.
Oh, the oboe. Pastoral. English.
Yeah, but imagine the face they're doing. It's the face.
I'm not bothered about the face. Did that tickle you, Kelly, did it?
Yeah.
Flippin' heck. The thing I don't like about trumpets and all of those metal instruments, the spit. There's a spit valve. There's a spit valve, and you'll see them.
We all got done for throwing a rubber down Stuart Blair's euphonium.
Hang on, we ain't got time for that.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 southbound, that's starting to get quite busy between junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road and 7 for Hemel Hempstead. And looking at the M25 on the cameras anti-clockwise, it's getting quite busy between junction 21 for the M1 and 16 for the M40. In Bricketwood on North Orbital Road, that's starting to look very slow at the M25 junction 21A roundabout. And in Hitchin on Upper Tilhouse Street, there's temporary traffic lights there in both directions at Purton Road for roadworks that could slow things down. On the trains after the emergency engineering works at Watford Junction yesterday, there are possible delays on London, Midland, Southern and Virgin trains through there. And if you're in Watford or heading into London, there's a 24-hour bus strike and it's begun. It's affecting most bus routes, but tickets are being accepted on the Underground. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. 6:45. It is Tuesday, the 13th of January. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. It's emerged that Milton Keynes Council had serious safety concerns about switching off streetlights months before 2 deaths on dark roads. Network Rail are being accused of letting down disabled commuters. The firm installed lifts at Leighton Buzzard Station last year, but they're still not working. And the Charlie Hebdo magazine features a cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad on the front cover of its latest edition, the first since the attacks attacks on its offices in Paris last week, in which 12 people were killed. Coming up, there is not a chance in hell we're playing Ronson and Mars, Uptown Funk. It sounds like the kind of... Have you heard that song?
Yes.
It sounds like the kind of song my dad would make up in the 70s when he was taking the mickey out of Top of the Pops. Uptown Funk, gonna have an Uptown Funk. We're not playing that. We'll have the weather with Kate and we'll find something better.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Another rather grey and damp start to the day across all three counties. We have some quite heavy showers out there this morning, but they are moving, and they're moving south and eastwards. Eventually the cloud will start to clear and we'll get some wintry, sunny spells through the course of the afternoon. Also, though, one or two quite heavy showers mixed in there too. Potentially one or two rumbles of thunder, some hail mixed into those showers. Now, the rain this morning is a cold front. As it moves, the air behind it is much colder, so it's going to progressively, the temperature's going to drop off, although the maximum likely to be around 10, maybe 11 Celsius today. By the end of the day, it's probably going to be around 7 or 8 Celsius, so it's getting colder. Now, the Met Office has issued a yellow weather warning for parts of Buckinghamshire from 6 o'clock this evening for snow and ice. Now, these showers, because the temperature drops, could turn fairly wintry, particularly over higher ground, the Chilterns, but even to lower ground as well as they move through. We could get some slight accumulations on the ground. Also, any rain we get today could freeze as the temperature in most places drops down to 0. Now, as we head in tomorrow, it's a cold start, but then the cloud gradually increases through the day, and then our next yellow early warning for wind issued by the Met Office comes into play from tomorrow lunchtime. Gusts of wind 50-65 miles per hour expected through tomorrow afternoon and overnight into Thursday, and that's your forecast.
We all got done for throwing a rubber down Stuart Blair's euphonium.
He's been a local MP for nearly 5 years. He's risen through the ranks of the Labour Party, and now he's answering your questions.
What makes you different to all the other politicians out there?
Tomorrow morning, Gavin Shooker will be in my hot seat to answer the questions that you set to him.
Ultimately, that's a very difficult position to defend.
Whether you're in his constituency or live elsewhere in Beds, Herts and Bucks, I want to know what you want the answers to.
What I really want to know, if it comes to it, which party would you be willing to form a government with?
Get your questions in now by emailing jvsshow@bbc.co.uk or text on 81333 starting your message with 3CR. Gavin Shooker in the
before the second show. Your guitar, it sounds so sweet and clear, but you're not really here. It's just the radio.
romantic. Sad chord. Because he dies.
No, it's not romantic. He's used her.
He dies. He dies at the end in a plane crash. That Buddy Holly, that song.
Is it?
Nah. Justin!
Not happy with you, boss. Not happy.
Sorry? What's Wagwan?
Well, Wagwan.
No, it's not. That doesn't mean hello. That means what's going on. It's, it's useful, literally useful in this point here.
Well, Wagwan back to you then. What's going on? Kenny G? You're knocking Kenny G?
Oh, come on.
That man should be, once they finish Slobodan Milosevic, I don't know if he's still alive, he should be next in The Hague for crimes in the 80s.
Extraordinary. Absolutely
Factual,
extraordinary.
mate.
No, not at all.
The saxophone is a flipping awful instrument, right?
Do you like Madness, One Step Beyond?
No.
You don't like that?
Nope.
Spandau Ballet, True?
I like it until the saxophone comes in.
Christopher Cross, Arthur's Theme.
Oh, for crying
George Michael, Careless Whisper, Baker Street.
I do not like Baker Street.
Rubbish.
It's an awful record.
You like it. You love it.
I don't like it.
Just admit it. Come on, be a man.
Here's a romantic story, okay? And we should have more of this. Seriously, and I like this. This is romantic. Catherine, you'd like this if two guys did this.
Oh.
Two love rivals, aged 49 and 52, were arrested for fighting over a woman with an axe and a sword in Austin, Texas.
Oh, how medieval.
That's proper duelling, isn't it, Just?
Do you know what? Sometimes you've just got to do these things.
Yeah, we've just got to do these things. That is romance. Romance is not dead.
Totally agree.
Texas.
Can we get back to Kenny G?
I'd go axe, wouldn't you? Axe or sword?
Sword. Longer range. You can see the axe swing, okay? Because the axe, you've got to pull it back and pulling it back. Oh, he stabbed me.
Right, hack.
Sword.
Boss,
hack
would you like a
Great
Starbucks later
do you remember hack and slash? They were good, weren't they?
Boss?
You gotta hack and slash. You gotta hack and slash. You gotta hack slash slash. We are hack and slash.
Anyway, are those people injured?
I'm thinking of Chris Cross. Oh. Justin,
would you like a Starbucks later on?
Why? Are you going to get them to write a rude name on it?
No, I'm just asking a question. Would you like a Starbucks later on?
Yes, I would.
OK. You enjoy Starbucks, yeah?
Yes, I do.
Kenny G, one of the original investors in that company. Oh. I'm now saying, no, you're not having one.
I look forward to hearing a Kenny G package later on in the show. Is that happening?
That is happening, yes.
Bring it.
Right, now what are we going to send him out on?
Well, we were going to do funeral crashes, weren't we?
Well, I don't know
whether people will have anything on that.
I've not crashed a funeral, but I have crashed a christening, and it was in Caddington. It was for my friend DJ Dazzler Jones.
Oh, how old was he?
Well, it wasn't his christening, it was his child's christening, and I was late, and what I didn't realise was there were actually two churches in Caddington. I've sat through the whole service at the back, they've all got up, and I've suddenly realised, oh dear, I'm at the wrong service here.
Yeah.
That
Quickly
happened to
nipped
me.
across the road, yeah.
But I was godmother. Didn't go down too well.
Wow. So you godmother to a stranger now?
No, I realised.
OK. Well, we can do that. There's a thing that we didn't... I tell you what, we've got a minute. Have a listen to this, Justin. This is me yesterday in Catherine's car with her youngest daughter, Titch, and I found an interesting toy. Have a listen to this.
Yeah, thanks for handing it back.
Who can see who can make the loudest noise? Either me with my voice or you with the horn. You ready?
No, let's see who can be the quietest.
3, 2, 1, go.
Me win.
No, you didn't win. Do it again. Another go.
No, come on.
I won that one.
I won.
No, you didn't. I won it.
I won it.
You did not win it.
I won it.
Catherine, who was the loudest? Me or Titch?
I think I've gone deaf.
Do it again. Do it again.
No.
I won easily.
No, I won.
I won.
I think she's...
I won. I won. So let's get a little bit tense.
Let the kid win.
Catherine, this is a matter of pride. She needs to learn. Right, do it again, as loud as you can. Right, my turn. I won.
I win.
No, you didn't win. I won.
I won because I did it first.
We're not playing who did it first. We're playing who did it loudest. Right, this is it. Now focus. Ready?
No, I don't want to play this game.
Praise be.
Play it again.
No, I don't.
I want you to play it again. Ready?
No, I'm not playing.
Unbelievable.
Oh, she owned you.
Catherine, can I play it with you?
No.
It did sound a little bit like bullying, actually, didn't it? Thoroughly unpleasant.
She really bullied you there, mate.
Didn't
Are
she
you all
just?
right?
Yeah, I'm okay, but I'm seeking a therapist.
Yeah, you should.
Who can help, and I'm considering legal action against Catherine.
Yeah.
Anyway, Justin.
Yeah.
Every child has a way of annoying their parents.
Yep.
Can we find some really annoying children and how they annoy their parents, please?
Yeah, no problem.
And here's another one. Every
Yep.
parent has a grown-up that they'd rather didn't play with their kids because that sort of stuff happens.
Good point, well made.
Take it to the streets, Just. It's a quiet news day.
Yep, no problem.
As you can tell.
And, that exclusive Kenergy package on the way after 8 o'clock. I'm going to turn you this morning, boss.
Justin, please. Thank you. Let's
Seen
move
the
on.
video of that.
08459 455 555. How do your children annoy you? This is one of the great things of being me. Is I've got no boredom threshold, so I can play that game with my kids in the car for 2-hour drive.
Do you want the honker? Because you can have it.
No, you keep that. I think you enjoyed that. But me and the boys can just repeat words and noises for hours and hours and hours, and it really annoys my wife, which is wonderful. How do your kids annoy you, please? What instruments are we going to get rid of? What other stuff was
Can
there?
we do how do your parents annoy you?
Yeah, of course we can. We can. Yeah, well done. 08459 455 555. There'll be more stuff coming up.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the A1M southbound, that's starting to get very busy between junction 3 for St Albans and 2 for Welham Green. And the M25 anti-clockwise is looking quite slow between junction 21 for the M1 and 16 for the M40. Also having a look at the North Orbital Road around junction 21A for the M25 roundabout. That's very slow as well. In Watford, Exchange Road's looking quite busy on the speed sensors at Beach and Grove. And on the trains, there are possible delays on London Midland Southern and Virgin trains through Watford Junction after the emergency engineering works yesterday. If you're heading into London or if you're in Watford, a 24-hour bus strike has begun. That's affecting most bus routes, but tickets are valid on the Underground today. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Samantha. It's kind of a hodgepodge today. Annoying kids, annoying parents. Ever turned up at the wrong do? Take some of your calls after the news from Barry.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock, I'm Barry Caffrey. The headlines: 2 deaths in Milton Keynes being linked to streetlights which had been switched off. Disabled commuters in Leighton Buzzard being let down by Network Rail, and illegal road signs in Bucks to be removed.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's emerged that no safety audit was carried out after Milton Keynes Council decided to switch off its streetlights 3 years ago. They were turned back on after a coroner said the lack of light was a contributing factor in the deaths of 2 people. Gary Tompkins' mother, Julie Pascoe, says her son was walking home from a birthday party in Milton Keynes when he was knocked down.
The van driver said he didn't see him because it was just too dark. He went to hospital and unfortunately we had to turn the life support off. It's cost my son's life just for a few pounds.
A cartoon of the Prophet Mohammed holding a sign saying Je suis Charlie is to feature on the front cover of the first edition of the satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo since Islamist gunmen attacked its offices in Paris last week, killing 12 people. The issue comes out tomorrow and 3 million copies will be printed instead of the usual 60,000. It's being translated into 16 languages and being made available in 25 countries. Network Rail are being accused of letting down disabled commuters in Bedfordshire. A lift system at Leighton Buzzard station is yet to become operational. The lifts had been due to open at the end of last year. Anne Grant is a member of the support group Carers in Bedfordshire. She's been speaking to Iain this morning.
Lifts are only one of the hurdles wheelchair users have to face. The size of the lift is often a big problem. My husband's in a big heavy electric wheelchair. He's a tetraplegic, and often he just can't get in the lift, which is a bad start.
A referendum could be held in Bedfordshire over the amount of tax the public pay to fund the police force. The Police and Crime Commissioner wants to increase tax by nearly 16%. That would mean people in Bedfordshire would pay between 32 and 48 pence extra each week, depending on their council tax band. Ollie Martin says he thinks people won't mind paying a bit more for increased police resources.
Clearly, the next 3 weeks before I actually set the budget is about me finding out what the public think. The feedback I get a lot is that people are prepared to pay more locally for policing. And, I'm going to test that out over the next 3 weeks, because clearly there's no point in having a referendum if the public are going to vote no.
Any unauthorised signs in Buckinghamshire are due to be removed over the next few months. Transport for Buckinghamshire has decided that advertising and business display signs can be a hazard, and they plan to take them all down. The owners of the signs will not be fined, but will have to pay £50 if they want them back, otherwise they will be destroyed. They would also like the public to report any signs that are blocking pathways or distracting drivers. And the weather forecast, it'll be a rainy morning for most, with showers heavy in places. They should die out by mid-morning, leaving a mainly dry and fine day with highs of 4 Celsius, that's 39 in Fahrenheit. Get the latest news online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
BBC 3 Counties Radio, 3 minutes past 7. Why am I telling you the time? You've probably got a watch, or a clock, or a telephone. On the show, we're talking about street lights, train stations, something to do with signs, which I've not quite got my head around yet. What instrument should we get rid of? The saxophone is at the top of the list. We're keeping the bagpipes. Kenny G, flipping heck. And what do's have you gate crashed? Have you been at someone's wedding or funeral or birthday party and you're not meant to be there? I gate crashed a wedding in India once. I was seen off by a man holding a rifle. What you doing here? We just like the pretty colours. Go now, please. Yes, man with gun in foreign country. 0849... No, hang on, let me try that again. What's the phone number here, Catherine? I can't remember.
08459 455 555.
Show off. Like the Rain Man.
Beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC 3 Counties Radio.
Got any texts, love?
Yeah, loads. Someone, I knew we'd get one of these. How about concentrating on driving, says someone who couldn't concentrate on putting their name on their text.
These are the story about a couple of people who have been killed. Their deaths have been linked to the
No, I think they're talking about the child blasting the...
Oh, talking about that? Oh, blimey. Why don't you grow up? Why don't you grow up? She was driving your plum.
Martin in Limbury, talking about annoying things that kids do. My 7-year-old daughter drives us bonkers by copying us all the time. Then my 4-year-old shouts, she's copying me again, which is nearly as annoying.
Yep.
That is the universal... I mean, we've all played that
We've
game.
all played. How do your kids annoy you? How do your parents annoy you?
And I crashed a funeral, says Phil, when I was a heating engineer with Islington Council in 1986. I went to bleed the radiators in the chapel at the Creme. I didn't know a funeral was going on. You just got to take a pew at that stage, haven't you?
Don't mind me. I'm just bleeding radiators. Don't mind me. That's what you do, isn't it? You get on and do it.
Really?
You love that. Well, then suddenly that funeral becomes a bit more memorable. Remember Nan's funeral? Yeah, wasn't there a fella bleeding radiators there? Yeah, it was weird, wasn't it? It's what she would have wanted. No, she'd still want to be alive. So it's what they would have wanted. No, they would not want to be dead, I think is what they would have wanted. 08459 455 555. You can text as well, 81333. Start your text 3CR. Now, it's emerged that Milton Keynes Council had serious safety concerns, about switching off streetlights months before 2 deaths on dark roads. An audit looking into potential dangers was ordered by my next guest, but for some reason, it was never carried out. Conservative councillor John Bint was the councillor in charge of transport at the time. Morning, John.
Good morning.
So why wasn't a safety audit carried out then regarding these lights being switched off?
I think in 2011 a number of different things happened. The first was there was a change of some senior officers. There was also a change in administration, and so there was a new group of people looking at the situation. And I think it took a few months before it was realised that actually a safety audit hadn't been undertaken.
So it kind of just you recommended it, and it just didn't. It slipped through the net.
I think what happened is that there was an immediate decision that all the grid lights that were serving junctions and redways and bus stops should be left on, and that decision was taken within a few months of as I say, the change of administration. What hadn't happened at that stage and took longer, because I think it was kind of new to the industry, is the effect of having these light and dark patches that was going to arise because we'd just taken the decision I've described.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until the two unfortunate casualties that you describe in the coroner's report that officers then looked into the effect of having some patches with light on and some patches with light off.
Because it seems pretty obvious. If you've not got street lights on, even though your cars have got headlights, you're not going to be able to see as much, are you? It's obviously dangerous.
It is obviously safer if you have lights. Yes, I take that point. That's obvious. But what we've also got in the background of this is we've got a investment program to put in low energy light bulbs, so that we could have more light for less electricity. So that was happening. But as I say, it took a while for the professionals, for the industry, to realise that it's not just a case of do you have lights in some area and dark in others, but also you have to consider the effect of people driving from light into dark and vice versa. And once that was undertaken, then it was clear that really within the urban area of Milton Keynes there are very few straights long enough to allow the eye to acclimatise to darkness and then come back into light for the next roundabout. So we kept all the lights on.
Sherwin Sequeira and Gary Tompkins, the two people that died, they died, well, in fact, one of their mums said they died just to save a few quid, didn't they?
I don't think that's fair in a situation where everybody's doing their very best to keep Milton Keynes roads safe, and in general Milton Keynes roads are very safe.
But the audit wasn't organised, and for the sake of a few quid, two people are dead.
In hindsight, in the benefit of what the industry, what the experts now know, yes, I think that's a blunt way of putting it, but I can see the point of view. And I think what we did is the moment that the concerns began to surface, then both elected councillors and road highway professional officers looked at this situation, realised that they hadn't known as much as they needed to, and took a better decision and implemented it quite quickly.
What point did you realise that? Did people realise that things perhaps weren't working as well as you wanted to? Was it when Sherwin died, or was it when Gary died?
I think the two were very close together in I think it was October of 2011, and by that stage we'd already taken the decision to leave on all the lights that were serving junctions and redways and bus stops, and it was at that point that the investigations by the police, which I think kind of overlap, so I don't think you can have was it one or the other. It was the two in quick succession that says, look, this is new science to us. This is light going into darkness. The industry hasn't known about it, hasn't had to cope with it, hasn't had to assess it. We did, and as a result of that, kept all the lights on in the urban area of Milton Keynes. And I do have to say, and because they put a time switch on them and a dimmer, we've actually got more light. We've got a road safety record that we are generally very proud of, and we're actually spending less on electricity. So I think there's good bits in this period as well. There were some very good things happen.
Has Milton Keynes Council apologised to the families of Sherwin Sequeira and Gary Tompkins?
I think you regret any casualty that's avoidable. Yeah. I think in this situation,
has the council apologised?
I don't know. Formally, I don't know. Yeah. But what I do know is that we were dealing with something that hadn't been done before, which was trying to put lights on where it was most needed.
Hence why the audit would have been was even more required. It'd never been done before, so it just seems odd that it didn't happen, that it slipped through the net.
Yes. And I think when you're a councillor, you're doing your best to juggle all the balls. And
whose fault was it the audit didn't get done?
It's one of those situations. I think that's everybody's fault. Everybody's fault. Would say in hindsight that yes, of course, you should have done a safety assessment. It hadn't been done, and it was done at the point that it was spotted.
Whose fault was it that it didn't get done?
I suspect a senior officer of that department who is no longer at the council.
Okay. John, listen, I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you very much. Conservative Councillor John Bint, 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
What you got, Boyley?
I've had a text on this one. It says, it's from Jill. I live in a rural village with no streetlights and have no problem with it. But at the weekend I drove in an urban area where streetlights were turned off and I found it quite scary. There's so many more obstacles to avoid and look out for. I could see many more accidents happening. Well, she's familiar with her village. Yeah. She knows what's coming, doesn't she? I think anyone would find it frightening.
Is this too obvious? Isn't the way to save money is not switch off all streetlights, you switch off every second and third. So every third streetlight is on.
Can you do that, though?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know how they're connected.
I don't know how it works, really. But I remember we've talked about this before, about places and villages and estates switching off their streetlights to save money. Well, yeah, they're saving money and there's putting lives potentially... Didn't we have a story about a couple of homes that got robbed because there was no streetlight? So the burglars, thought they were in with a better chance.
Cover of darkness. But then the police, we've spoken to police before, and they will argue that burglars like the light because they can see what they're doing.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Oh, well, that's very sad. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call, what do your children do that annoy you? Did I tell you this? My youngest now, his thing is he wants to lick me.
Oh, yeah.
He tries to lick me. So, it started, they both did it, and the eldest has got bored, and it started with, I'm going to lick you, Daddy, and now, I've got really good peripheral vision, excellent, and so never try and sneak up on me. So now, I'll be watching TV, and I'll just see, out of the corner of my eye, him, and he does it really slow, he goes, and you've just got to get it out of the way, son. Sorry?
He puts his tongue out first.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
His tongue.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
But I've tried licking him, and he likes it, so it doesn't work.
My kids insist on putting bits of me that should be sticking out and pushing them in. 2 points about me that they are kind of obsessed with.
Oh, really? Those?
Yeah, that's the thing at the moment.
Wowzers.
So I have been doing that manoeuvre where you hold them by the forehead.
Oh, like
and they're swinging the arms and they can't get to you.
Like you do if you're having a fight with one of the anthill mob.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I tried that once and I got punched straight in the face.
That'll learn you, Kelly Betts. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the A1M southbound, we've had reports that it's very slow there because of vehicles broken down between junction 3 for St Albans and 2 for Welham Green. Having a look at the speed sensors on the M1 southbound, that's looking very busy between junction 11 for Dunstable Road and 9 for Redbourne. And in Luton on Airport Way, for travelling in and out of the airport this morning, it's partially blocked between the M1 junction 10A for the Kidneywood roundabout and Vauxhall Way because a building's on fire and the fire services are there putting it out at the moment. On the A1 southbound, it's very slow between the St Neots junction and the Black Cat roundabout through the roadworks. And on the trains, London Midland, Southern and Virgin trains have half-hour delays because of emergency engineering works yesterday at Watford Junction. If you're heading into London or if you're in Watford today, a 24-hour bus strike has begun, so that's affecting 94% of bus routes, so that could cause some delays. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7:16. It's Tuesday, the 13th of January. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. It's emerged that Milton Keynes Council had serious safety concerns about switching off streetlights months before 2 deaths on dark roads. And a cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad holding a sign saying "Je suis Charlie" is to feature on the front cover of the first edition of the satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo since Islamist gunmen attacked its offices in Paris last week.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Every weekday from 12.
We're talking to Alice Jones about her journey, which has landed her in the arms of Youthscape.
When I was 5, my dad left our family. It's your first inclination to go, oh, I must have done something naughty.
Nick Coffer.
I was in a really vulnerable place. The people at Youthscape, it is literally their job to show you that they love you and care about you and whatever you're going through.
Every day my job's a privilege, but every once in a while it's an even bigger privilege because I get to meet people like you.
Nick Coffer on BBC Three Counties Radio.
08459 455 555. So we've got a text.
Yeah, through from Rob. It says, you can't say a senior officer is no longer with the council and then end the interview. That person is still responsible. Who are they? Bring them to account.
OK, well, there we go. That's one opinion. Anything else?
Yes.
Excellent.
On a different matter?
Oh, OK, go on.
OK. Jan in Luton.
What was that noise? I think a little bit of air escaped.
Well, I was thinking about this next suggestion.
Yeah.
Jamie, Milton Keynes, do you know there are people who make woodwind instruments out of vegetables?
Oh, yeah, I've seen this. You can blow a carrot.
Yeah, check out the carrot clarinet on YouTube. Surprisingly good.
You can blow a carrot and you can play a parsnip.
Yeah.
Oh. That is good, actually.
You wouldn't want to eat it afterwards, though, would you?
Well, yeah, I'd eat my own. I'd eat my own parsnip.
Would you?
I could.
Would you?
Yeah, if I could get it.
Yeah, I'd blow a carrot then eat it.
Would you?
Would you, Kelly?
Yes.
Would you, though?
Oh, I don't actually really like carrots. If it was something else.
I like a roasted carrot. I don't like boiled carrots.
I like roasted carrots.
You can't play a roasted carrot. You can't play one of those.
You blow it.
Blow it and then
you roast it. You see? Cover it in honey.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, because roasted... You said you don't like carrots, Kels, but roasted carrots, they're still carrots. It's the word carrot.
No, I like them roast. I don't mind the word carrot.
Yeah?
I like them roasted.
I love a raw carrot.
I like them in things. I had a salad yesterday with shredded carrot.
What do you like them in?
Salad.
Thank you very much indeed. 08459 455 555. You all right, Catherine?
Good stories.
Great bands. Now, the Conservative MP for South West Bedfordshire is calling for Network Rail to buck its ideas up. The firm promised to improve disabled access by installing lifts by the end of last year, and they did. They installed lifts. But the lifts don't work, and Network Rail can't say when they will. Well, Andrew Sellew is on the line now. Morning, Andrew.
Good morning to you.
What on earth is going on?
Well, Network Rail tell me that there's an emergency telephone in the lifts that isn't working, and they've been trying to repair it since some time before Christmas now, and I, along with many people, are getting pretty exasperated at how long it's taking. We've waited a very, very long time for these lifts. We've got older people, disabled people, parents with young children with buggies and so on, just anyone with heavy luggage, quite frankly, who really, really wants this lift to be open so people can get up and down to London easily or Birmingham or wherever they're going. The lifts are sitting there. We're all looking at them, but no one can use them.
What have people said to you, Andrew? What's kind of the reaction been?
Well, people are getting pretty irritated and pretty angry. I mean, we were really pleased when we were told they were going to be built. We've all watched them being built for months and months and months. They're finished. All the workmen have gone. But no one's able to use them. And I've been onto Network Rail again and again and again. I'm now communicating directly with the rail minister because Network Rail answer to her. And, I'm looking for a date by when they're going to have...
And they've given no idea. A week, a month, they've not said anything.
They haven't given me a date, but I'm getting more and more exasperated. It's one of the reasons I'm so pleased that you rang yesterday and asked me to come on the programme.
How long does it take to connect a blooming emergency phone up?
Well, that's exactly my question. It's not as if there's a major structural fault and they've got to knock the whole thing down and start again. This is a telephone. BT are pretty good. They can mend phones fairly fast these days, can't they? So I just really wonder what the issue is. What I can assure people locally, though, is that I'm very, very keen to get these lifts open as soon as possible, and I'm going to stay on the tail of Network Rail until they mend it and it's open.
Is it true, Andrew, that you were asked to go and open the lifts?
I was asked to go and open the lifts, I believe, in early December, and I said, wonderful, I'd be delighted to do that, and I gave them a couple of dates, and then they kept putting me off, and no one was available, and they couldn't do it, and eventually they then said that the emergency phone wasn't working. And it's just gone on and on and on since early December. I mean, it's a good month or so now.
As an MP, Andrew, sorry, how would one open lift? Is there literally a ribbon that's being cut, or do
you? They say open it. I mean, I think they just want to have some sort of ceremony to mark this significant addition to Leighton Buzzard Station, which we've waited a very, very long time for. People are really fed up that this station doesn't have a lift. Many other stations do have lifts. Leighton Buzzard should have had one, frankly, a long time ago. It's really time this was open. But what I can assure people, I will keep on the tail of Network Rail until we get this sorted, because I'm very, very irritated it's taken so long.
Network Rail, they're all to cock at the moment, aren't they? They're really all over the place with the troubles at Christmas, and so there are huge things, and there are slightly smaller things like this. They don't seem to have a clue, do they?
It did take us a very long time to get the potholes mended in front of Leighton Buzzard Station. I mean, that just took, frankly, much, much longer than it should have done. So this is just the second example at Leighton Buzzard Station where things have taken very much longer than they really should have done to have got sorted. But anyway, I'm an optimist. I will stay on their tail. We will get these lifts opened. I'll keep badgering them, and I'm sure they'll be open sometime soon.
Andrew, excellent. Thank you for your time. We will keep in touch with you, and as soon as we have a date, well, then we'll all be eagerly anticipating it. It's Andrew Sellew, Conservative MP for South West Bedfordshire.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
You asked me an excellent question there, Catherine. Go on.
Have you ever opened anything?
Tin can.
Have I? Sorry?
Tin can? A door?
Like a fate or
No, I'm trying to think. Have I ever opened
I have, and I find them always embarrassing.
You have?
Yeah.
What do you mean always? How many have you done?
Few.
What have you
I
opened?
don't like doing them. You can't say no.
What have you opened?
I was asked to go and open something at a charity, but no one had told the rest of the people at the charity, so when I turned up to say, yeah, I'm here to do the opening, they're like, oh really, okay.
Blimey.
It was one of those.
Aye.
I was asked to switch on someone's Christmas lights.
Oh, in their house?
Yeah.
Really?
Turned out to be their house.
Flip, what, did someone just send an email saying, well, how did that work?
Well, I was told that there was a big charity light switch on.
Yeah.
And the woman was very nice and charming and everything, and I turned up and it was her house, so I was
and who
shown
was there?
to the light switch.
Who was there?
Her mates.
That's weird. Are there any pictures of this?
No. It was really embarrassing.
And you had to go, and now turn on these lights, and what, you had to go and bend down and switch the plug on?
Yeah, at one point, I can't say.
Say?
At one point, she got stuck in the mud on a mobility scooter.
I don't know what you're laughing at that for. That's outrageous.
And I was trying to help her. I was pushing for ages, trying to get her out of the mud. She jumped out of it.
What?
Did it herself.
What? So she was lazy?
No, but she wasn't as disabled as I thought she was.
So she could have switched her lights on herself the whole time?
Well, no, it wasn't about that. It was an honour to do it, obviously.
Oh, right, yeah, I'm getting that from the way you're telling the story. I have opened a couple of things.
They didn't do a plaque. Her neighbours had gone out because they didn't like the lights.
I've opened my mum's fate at her care home a couple of times, and nobody there has a clue who I am.
It's always mortified.
I'm just the fella that goes to see his mum there, so they don't know that I've been on. And it is awful. And it's more. I do it because mum really enjoys it, But they've got rid of what's his name? Turnbull. Bob. What's his name? Rob Turnbull. Is that a man? Turnbull, the BBC One newsman.
Yeah, that one.
He used to do it before me.
Well, I was told the bloke from QVC did it the year before me.
Oh,
the big light switch on.
Flipping heck.
And it was literally switching on the big light.
What have you opened? It's a legitimate phone in 08459. What is it?
455 555.
What have you ever opened anything, Dave? Apart from your big gob.
It's a good job I'm not there, pal.
Why is that, pal?
Well, You'll have a big gob and all.
What does that... I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, with a punch in it.
Right, OK, right,
With
another...
the insults, but
another threat.
Can I talk serious today?
I don't know, can you?
Can you tell me the reasons why the French president, too, didn't tell that French magazine to keep it all off, to keep it all quiet about this Mohammed?
I can tell you why.
Prophet.
I can tell you why. 3 words. 3 words,
What?
Dave. Liberté, égalité, fraternité.
Yeah, oui.
The first one is freedom. Freedom of speech.
No. Well, then you'll have freedom of killing more innocent people, won't you?
This is the whole argument, Dave, right? So you wonder why the French president didn't say to this magazine, oi, button it.
Yeah, that's correct.
Because it's freedom of speech.
No, then you could have freedom of killing innocent people again, aren't you?
You're saying one justifies the other.
Well, no, it don't. This is how those 17 innocent people got killed, because they were printing out this Prophet Mohammed.
By the way, remind me, there's a really sad epilogue to this story. Remind me to tell you in a second. Really sad twist at the end of this story, yeah.
But the situation is, they've come along now, these evil gunmen have killed these innocent people. And
Dave!
I think it was a stutter.
It was a stutter. He said gunmen. Yes, Dave, carry on, please.
Gun. But then the situation is, they're printing...
Our careers all flashed in front of our eyes.
Again.
The Mohammed thing, yeah. It's freedom of speech, Dave.
No, it's freedom of killing these innocent people
Did those cartoonists deserve to die?
Well, if they're printing things like this all the time about and make people livid, furious, then what are they expecting?
Did they deserve to die?
Well, I don't know. Not the other innocent people.
Right. Did the cartoonists, the fella that drew that cartoon and his boss who said, we're going to put that on the front page, did they deserve to die?
Well, if they're insulting a prophet, Mohammed, to where these people... I don't know what you call them, Muslim people. If they worship that person,
let's call them thugs. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if they worship that person, then and you irritate that person, then I tell you what, they'll do the killing, won't they?
So they deserve to die, is what you're saying, in essence.
No one deserves to die.
But it's their fault.
Well, yeah, because they're printing this situation.
Dave, thank you very much indeed.
And they've done it again.
Yeah. The cop leading the investigation, this is so sad, shot himself. He killed himself.
Yeah, on Wednesday.
Killed himself. He was depressed anyway, apparently. He'd been speaking to, I think, some of the family members of those people that have been killed, and racked with guilt and depression, he killed himself. Isn't that a terrible kind of epilogue to the whole story? Well, you've heard it there from Dave. Dave thinks in a roundabout way... Well, Dave thinks the cartoonists may not deserve to die, but it's their fault. It's their... What do you expect, really? What do you expect? They were doing the pictures of Mohammed. It's their fault. I'm going to leave you with that thought, please. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25 clockwise, there's been an accident just after junction 16 for the M40. Police have had reports that lane 4's blocked, but it's starting to cause queues. We can't see it on the camera, but it's possibly on the hard shoulder already, we've heard. On the A1M southbound, a breakdown has happened between junction 3 for St Albans and 2 for Welham Green. It has been moved away and it's starting to ease off there. But looking at the M1 southbound, it's very slow between junction 11 for Dunstable Road and the M1 junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road. On Airport Way, that was partially blocked between the M1 junction 10A for the Kidneywood roundabout and Vauxhall Way, but that has now reopened. It's starting to ease off on the way to Luton Airport. In Hemel Hempstead on the A41 southbound, that's looking slow on the speed sensors between Two Waters Road and the M25 junction 20 at Kings Langley. And on the trains, there are half-hour delays on London Midland Southern and Virgin trains through Watford Junction. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's
It's 7:30 with the headlines. I'm Barry Caffrey. It's emerged that no safety audit was carried out after Milton Keynes Council decided to switch off its streetlights 3 years ago. They were turned back on after a coroner said the lack of light was a contributing factor in the deaths of 2 people. A cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad holding a sign saying Je suis Charlie is to feature on the front cover of the first edition of the satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo. Since Islamist gunmen attacked its offices in Paris last week, 3 million copies of the issue will be printed. Network Rail are being accused of letting down disabled commuters in Bedfordshire. A lift system at Leighton Buzzard station is yet to become operational despite being in place since last year. And any unauthorised signs in Buckinghamshire are due to be removed over the next few months. Transport for Buckinghamshire has decided that advertising and business display signs can be a hazard, and they plan to take them all down. And the weather, it'll be a rainy morning for most, with showers heavy in places. They should die out by mid-morning, leaving a mainly fine and dry day with highs of 4 Celsius. That's 39 in Fahrenheit.
3 Counties Sports.
BBC 3 Counties Radio.
Cristiano Ronaldo has won FIFA's Ballon d'Or World Footballer of the Year. With more details, here's our senior football reporter, Iain Dennis.
It's the second successive year and a third time overall that Ronaldo has claimed this prestigious award. He described it as an unforgettable year in which he scored 52 goals in 43 games in 2014. With just over 37% of the votes, Ronaldo was a convincing winner ahead of Lionel Messi and goalkeeper Manuel Neuer. German midfielder Nadine Kessler was named Women's Player of the Year, but there was no award for Ireland's Stephanie Roach for Goal of the Year. The prize instead went to Colombia's James Rodriguez for his goal against Uruguay in the World Cup.
Chelsea manager Jose Mourinho has until 6 o'clock this evening to respond to an FA misconduct charge in relation to comments that he made following Chelsea's game against Southampton on the 28th of December. Mourinho claimed that there was a campaign to influence referees' decisions against his side. Fast bowler James Anderson has told the BBC that he believes England will go a long way in the Cricket World Cup, which starts next month. Anderson thinks England will benefit from the lack of expectation going into the competition.
The danger for other teams is if they take us lightly, because we've got young lads who have very little pressure on them. They're just going to play with freedom, and I honestly think that we've got a great chance of going a long way in this competition, and I know people will scoff at that, but as an England team, I know the majority of us feel like that, and the fact that we have been written off will definitely work in our favour.
And the women's darts BDO finalist Fallon Sherrock says she enjoyed the experience at Lakeside. Sherrock, who's from Milton Keynes, was beaten 3-1 by Lisa Ashton on Saturday.
I knew what I was expecting this time, so I didn't feel like under pressure or anything like that, and I was used to all the noise in the background and the publicity and stuff like that, but this time it's just gone really like a lot. I mean, I was travelling back on the train today and 2 people stopped me. I was like, oh my God, I'm a celebrity.
BBC 3 Counties Radio News and Sport. I'll be back with a full bulletin at 8.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC 3 Counties Radio.
Now that... As you know, dear listener, I'm not a fan of sport, and I found all that talk of football tedious. Barry delivered it excellently, with a few foreign names thrown in there, always tricky. Did it excellently. I wasn't interested in any of it until we got to that young lady from Milton Keynes who is the darts champion, because she's a real person. She's none of that. When you get footballers on, by real, I mean she sounds a little bit common. She sounds real, because when you get footballers on, they always put on a voice, and they always try and sound really intellectual. And do they? Well, they try. They try and. They've got nothing to say. Well, the football match was stunning. I thought as a team that we played well, but we could certainly play better.
When really what they should say is either we didn't score enough goals, or we scored enough goals.
Yeah. Whereas was her name Fallon?
Yes.
We should get her on the show. She sounded brilliant.
All right.
Because I tell you what it is. I tell you exactly what it is. Because she is thrilled. She is thrilled. Those footballers are in a privileged position, and every time they're interviewed, they should start by going, "I can't believe I get paid to do this," and that's pretty much what she was saying. Mm-hmm. She was saying she loves it, she can't believe it, and people recognise me on a train. Brilliant. That's what's missing from sport, the excitement. They should. Footballers, Justin, at the start of every interview should go, do you know what? I still cannot believe I'm getting paid to kick a ball around.
But if they did that, can you imagine the abuse they would then get the following weekend?
Mate, they're so pompous and self-righteous, whereas that young lady was absolutely thrilled and realises the lucky position she's in and is loving it.
There are some footballers who also...
Name one.
Let me name you a footballer. OK, if you want a local one, Andre Gray. There you go.
I haven't got a clue who that is.
Well, you saw him play for Luton Town against Millwall.
I meant someone who plays for a real football team, mate, not one of your Mickey Mouse ones.
He came from the non-league. He got transferred to Brentford for £600,000 in the summer, and he's always tweeting saying, I can't believe this is happening to me. I'm so lucky. There you go. One example.
Name one that gets paid £250,000 a week that has that same attitude.
I can't.
You can't. If I got paid $250,000 a week, right, I would literally every sentence I would start with, I can't believe I get this much money for playing football.
Wow.
And they're so miserable and so pompous. Oh, and you can't boo us. The fans can't. Yes, the fans can boo you because they're paying 50, 60 quid a week to come and watch you. They can boo you as much as they want, Sunshine.
You're getting high. Now, listen, you don't get paid badly for what you do.
Yeah,
do you start your programme saying, guys, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for sharing. No, you don't.
But I like to think that my enthusiasm for being one of the biggest chancers in the world, I get paid pretty good money to sit and play with my mates for 3 hours a day. How cool is that?
It's fantastic. And some players as well, they're with you on that one. Every single day they are pinching themselves, but do they have to come out and say it? Probably not, but the darts story, I went to the darts the other week. Anybody who's not tried it before, go to the Alley Pally. I was surrounded by men dressed up as sailors, as meerkats, as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, drinking jugs of lager. Jugs of lager. It was a great night.
Drinking drugs.
You said anyone who's not gone, but you said that it's not really the place for women.
It's
and
the
yet
place...
we just heard from a local champion who's a woman.
It's the place for women if you like, how can I put this, hardcore banter.
If you like being heckled.
Let's see if we can get Fallon on today. Let's get Fallon on the show.
She says darts is her hobby. That's nice.
That's why she's still enjoying it.
That's why she's enjoying it. Let's see if we can get Fallon on the show by 9 o'clock because I want to talk. I want to hear Dealey talk to her as well.
I think she might have been on Sport last night.
Beautiful. Well, I think she was.
We'll have her number.
Beautiful. Let's get her on now. Dealey, I had a wonderful afternoon yesterday using Tick, that's Catherine's youngest daughter, as a tool, a weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah, thanks for that.
And we were winding up Catherine. It was fun, and all kids are great at irritating their parents. It turns out that's what they're there for.
Yeah.
You've taken this to the streets.
I have, and do you know what? It's been a really tough one. I'll tell you why, because most people saying to me this morning, oh, no, my child is absolutely perfect.
Liars.
They don't do anything to annoy me.
Liars.
That's exactly what I said to them, but they were having none of it. However...
Liars.
A few people... A few people spoke the truth. I've been asking people, what annoys you about your children? Here's what people had to say. So you've got two children, 7 and 3. I want you to tell me about the things they do that really, really wind you up.
There's lots of things that they do that really wind me up. Leaving lights on.
Yeah.
I get home and it's kind of like Blackpool illuminations every night, particularly in the winter. You see the lights left on, taps are still running, etc. Clothes on the floor, dollies everywhere, that kind of thing. So general clutterness, I would say, and untidiness.
It sounds like a constant nightmare for you, and a nightmare which is costing you an absolute fortune.
It does, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So no matter how many times you tell them, they keep on doing it?
Yeah.
Give a lot of mouth.
So when did the mouth start happening then?
It normally gets to about 13, doesn't it?
So as soon as they got to 13, that was it, they started giving you lip?
Yeah.
Anything else they did that annoyed you?
Always on the ponce. Yeah, always on the ponce of money.
Natalie, how many kids have you got?
I've got one little boy.
And how old's the boy?
8 years old.
Wow. OK, I'm sure he keeps you nice and busy. What annoys you about your 8-year-old boy?
Just sometimes when he's lazy or doesn't want to make effort for things, like schoolwork and just general things like that. Apart from that, he's all right.
No, he's a good lad.
Good lad.
It's a lazy boy. It doesn't surprise me. Thank you.
Thank you.
OK. Why were you so shocked by her son being 8 years old?
Well, I'm just saying, you know, he's an 8-year-old boy, and an 8-year-old boy wasn't a shock. It was just.
You said, "Wow." How old's your boy? 8. Wow.
Yeah, OK, well,
what does that mean?
Was she a very young-looking woman?
She was very young.
There you go.
But the 8-year-old boy was me thinking, "Wow, I bet you've got your hands full." That kind of wow.
OK. Didn't sound like that. I would suggest, I think next week there's another pointless training session for BBC staff. I think next week, let me just... Yeah, it's different ways of saying wow. So I suggest you sign up for that one, Just.
OK. Are we done?
No, we're not actually. I tell you what I'd like for the last hour of the show. I don't know if you heard Dave from Luton, OK?
Yes.
Expressing very clumsily what I have heard a lot of other people say, and I'm genuinely shocked by this, right? He wasn't saying he wasn't saying that the cartoonists in Charlie Hebdo deserved to die. He did say it was their fault, and I have heard that was kind of the thread, wasn't it, Catherine? I've got that right. Yeah. He said it was their fault, OK, for drawing things when they knew that people would get angry and upset by it. I've heard other people say this and worse over the last week, Justin. I wonder if you could
wrong.
take... Well, yeah, I think most right-minded people would think they were wrong. Can we take it to the streets? Not asking did they deserve to die. Was it their fault?
I'll take it to the streets. I'm kind of dreading what sort of reaction we're going to get. Hopefully, people aren't going to be talking like Dave was earlier. I heard that, and I actually stopped what I was doing because I couldn't believe what he was saying.
Well, we've had a text message through from someone who is on the opposite side today, but equally, I'd say more vitriolic.
Go on.
I get annoyed, and there's some words in here that I'm not going to use, but
okay.
I get annoyed that someone with the same ability to conduct a reasoned argument as my dog gets the same rights as decent people. It doesn't mean I'm going to kill Dave in Luton, no. Wow. Or perhaps it's 3CR's fault for giving him airtime, given his reasoning, says Phil.
Well, no, the thing is... listen,
who I would like to take a phone call from.
Yeah, exactly. You can come on, and anyone can come on, and pretty much anyone can come on and pretty much express kind of almost any view within a few certain caveats, of course. If I had just heard that from Dave from Luton, I would be laughing. But I've not. I've heard other people say it on other shows and other stations.
There's another one through here from Mohammed in Luton who says, today I ask your opinion on what should one expect if you've created over 1 billion enemies.
Now, well, hang on a second. That's from Mohammed. Mm-hmm. Is that a genuine Mohammed, or is that
I've
someone?
Well, I've looked back through his history, and he always tweets as Mohammed. Messages as Mohammed, and there is a surname as well.
Okay, all right.
So, I mean,
I think it might be an interesting one.
Yeah, I think it will be. I really do.
I suspect it might be a depressing one as well.
I think it will. I think, like you say. I mean, obviously we heard Dave earlier on. I've heard a couple of people. I mean, not too many to be fair, but only a couple of people that have said something similar to Dave. I'll take it to the streets. I'll report back after 8 o'clock and tell you what people have to say this morning.
There's another text
Thank
from
you, mate. Speak to you later.
Matt says, freedom of speech or freedom to insult every Muslim on the planet. Now, that leads to the question, really, is every Muslim who sees that offended? They know the character of that magazine.
Yeah. It's a tough one, isn't it? Did the cartoon, the people who were shot in Paris the other day, did they... What's the question? I want to make sure. Did they deserve it?
Was it their own fault?
Was it their own fault? Sorry, not did they deserve it. Yes, was it their own fault for doing stuff that they know would be inflammatory? 08459 455 555.
The point of Charlie Hebdo is that they are irreverent, they are anti-religion, and they think that just because something is religiously sacred doesn't mean that you shouldn't be allowed to talk about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't...
some of the cartoons I thought were quite offensive, and not just because they were...
Some of them were
religious.
rotten, some of them were, championing the underdog. Some of them, the majority of them, I suggest, weren't funny. But, you can't shoot someone for not being funny. 08459 455 555 is the phone number.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25 clockwise, there are queues just after junction 16 for the M40 because of an accident. And also anti-clockwise on the M25, there are queues between junction 20 for Kings Langley and 16 for the M40. In Bricketwood on the North Orbital Road, that's looking very slow around the M25 junction 21A roundabout. In Borehamwood on the A1 southbound, there are queues from the Holiday Inn to Stirling Corner. And in Hertford on Gascoigne Way, that's looking very slow on the speed sensors around Ware Road and 4th Street. On the trains, London Midland and Southern and Virgin trains all have half-hour delays through Watford Junction because of the emergency engineering works yesterday. And if you're in Watford or heading into London, a 24-hour bus strike has begun on the buses, so 94% of bus routes are not running. Samantha Braff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much. Right, it's 7:45. It's Tuesday, the 13th of January. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The lack of street lighting was found to be a contributing factor in the deaths of 2 people in Milton Keynes 3 years ago. The council confirmed no safety audit had been carried on its policy out before deaths. A cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad holding a sign saying Je suis Charlie is to feature on the front cover of the first edition of the satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo since Islamist gunmen attacked its offices in Paris last week. 08459 455 555. Let's get the weather. Here's Kate.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Another rather grey and damp start to the day across all 3 counties. We've had a fair bit of rain this morning, but it seems to have eased off a little. Still have some showers around, but the main bulk has now cleared south and eastward. Still have the cloud 1 or 2 showers for a while, but then we'll get some sunny spells through the middle part of the day. As we head towards the end of the day, we should get some clearance on that, some sunshine to end the day. Also still 1 or 2 potentially quite heavy showers out there. Now out towards parts of the Chilterns, for example, these showers could turn a little wintry, and the Met Office has issued a yellow weather warning for snow and ice for parts of Buckinghamshire, really only for tonight into tomorrow morning. Now, we could see ice pretty much anywhere. It's a widespread frost overnight as temperatures dripping down to around 0, but also any showers we do get could turn wintry. The only place we're really going to see it start to accumulate at all is probably out towards higher ground to the Chilterns, as I said. Towards lower ground, we're probably going to see a little bit, but it probably won't do much on the ground. So a chilly start tomorrow morning, minimum temperature down to 0 overnight. 1 or 2 showers around first thing, but they're clear. We'll get a drier middle part of the day, and then as we head through tomorrow afternoon, the cloud increases and our next weather system arrives. The Met Office has issued an early yellow weather warning for strong winds, gusts of 50 to 65 miles per hour likely through tomorrow evening and overnight into Thursday. And that's your forecast.
Every weekday morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon Smith.
Local opinions.
We think it's absolutely shocking that this young man should continue to have to be punished.
He hasn't even shown any remorse or said sorry.
Well, firstly, I have to disagree.
The JVS show.
Well, we're not living in very optimistic times.
But it does seem very clear, doesn't it?
They're human beings. Some are good people, some are bad.
The JVS show on BBC Three Counties Radio. Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, we've all seen the odd dodgy-looking signs on the side of the road. Cars for cash, We Buy Your Gold, School of 86 Hardcore Reunion featuring Fat Dubs.
Who goes around ever ring them?
I don't know. Who goes around putting those things? I've never seen anyone putting them up.
I see a lot of work from home.
Yeah, there's
cash.
a lot of that. I tell you the one I've seen. We Buy Any House.
Oh.
Right, but it's handwritten, and it's got a mobile number on it,
and stuck on a lamppost.
Yeah. Hey guys, I want to sell my house. Really. Hey, look, we just drove past a mobile phone number. Let's call them.
If you're listening and you've ever rung any of those numbers, can you tell us what happened?
Someone must do. Anyway, Buckinghamshire County Council have had enough, and they've announced a county-wide purge. Ruth Viger is Buckinghamshire County Council Cabinet Member for Transportation. Morning, Ruth.
Good morning.
So give us some examples of some of these signs that we're talking about.
Well, I mean, it's street clutter, isn't it? Street furniture that's not welcomed by the residents. So we're having a big purge, as you quite rightly said, and we're going to start clearing them all away.
And which kind are these the signs that are tied to lampposts?
They're tied to lampposts. They're also put on the pavements. The public can't always get past them. They obstruct motorist viewpoints. They're a bit of a nuisance, really.
So what are the kinds of signs that are put on pavements?
Well, they're mainly companies that are trying to advertise their businesses. So it could be anything from a florist to a builder to as you quite rightly pointed out to your people this morning, it could be buy any car, buy any house, buy any piece of land.
Why are you taking such a hard line against these signs?
Mainly because they're a danger. They are a danger. As I say, they obstruct vision. They obstruct the footpath, so people with prams, wheelchairs can't get past. So, we need to clear up our streets.
Can't you just knock on the florists or the shops and say, look, you're not allowed to have your sign there, move it, otherwise we'll fine you?
We have done that. I have in my own particular division in Bucks offenders of signage where we've asked them very nicely, we've written to them very nicely and politely, and they just ignore you.
And you can't prosecute them or fine them?
We can actually, we can actually find them. We can take them away. We hold them for 7 to 10 days. We give them the opportunity to have them back. At that point, if they want their sign back, it will cost them £50. Right. If they don't, then we destroy them.
And how much does it cost to go around collecting all these signs?
Well, we have a two-man crew going out at the end of this month, and it will cost £250 per district. That's one crew of 2 operatives per area working for 6 hours to remove them.
Okay, and so £250 a month?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if they pay the £50 and get their signs back, what's to stop them doing it again?
Well, nothing other than the fact they will get another £50 fine, and it will continue. I mean, we just hope people will be a little bit respectful, and they will work with us. I mean, there are certain signs that you can put up. It's always best to speak with your parish or your town council and go and see them and say, I've got this, I want to do that, and they will advise you on proper legislation so that it doesn't become a danger to members of the public. If there's a charitable event, then again, that there are ways of displaying those signs, and we wouldn't want to stop necessarily those people from having their events supported.
Ruth, I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you, Ruth Weigel, Buckinghamshire County Council Cabinet Member for Transportation.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
For all you gamblers out there.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road is where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Down this road that never seems to end. When your adventure lies just around the bend. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, the whole world is my home. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. Maybe tomorrow, I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. There's a world that's waiting to unfold, a brand new tale no one has ever told. We've journeyed far, but you know it won't be long. We're almost there and we've paid our fare with a hobo song.
You can do
Maybe
it right
tomorrow,
now,
I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll find what I call home. Until tomorrow, you know I'm free to roll.
What you got, Kath?
Loads of texts on the Charlie Hebdo question.
We like your text. Do call us. The calls, we can kind of investigate this. The question was, after Dave Luton called in...
He suggested that while the cartoonists didn't deserve it, it was their own fault.
Yes.
Debbie says, good morning, Iain. Those that are condoning the murder of the cartoonist in Paris are just as bad as those who pulled the trigger.
Well, no,
Maybe
they're not.
Did those police and Jewish people deserve it? How disgusting is that? This country is getting to be a scary place to live in, made more worrying with views from people like Dave. Oh, Dave. Matt says, if you keep insulting me, having been warned repeatedly not to, would you expect to eventually get a slap? Blowing your head off would be a bit extreme, I admit, but eventually I would retaliate.
Why? Why would you retaliate? Why? I don't know why you'd have to.
Tony,
With violence? Why would you have to retaliate with violence?
Am I being Charlie if I disagree with Mohammed? I think he means the texter,
Yes.
Mohammed. I don't think that 1 billion people have been offended. 1 billion people have not read the magazine. 1 billion people may have more compassion and tolerance. 1 billion people may turn the other cheek. By all means, be offended if you choose to, but don't kill because you're offended. Show that your religion is as strong as your faith. Enjoy your religion, don't endure it, says Tony.
08459 455 555. We've got a tweet here from John about the road signs. How is that news? Plus, Bedford has been doing it for years. Yeah, I kind of agree, John.
Fair enough.
I kind of agree. Yeah, I know. I know
But
what
also,
you mean.
don't you think by giving the signs back, they're just saying, carry on moving it around?
Yeah, I don't.
To me, it sounded like, forgive me, a nice little earner.
Yeah.
They get fined £50, they get another £50 if they get their sign back, and then they carry on the chase.
There are more important things to worry about than that, aren't there? Yeah. Really, I mean, I'm not quite. I didn't quite follow that story. If I'm honest, am I allowed to be honest here? It's the BBC. I can never quite remember what the policy is on honesty.
What day is it?
It's a Tuesday, the 13th.
I think it's an honesty day. Yeah.
It's an honesty day. Speaking of honesty days, flipping heck, but there are so many perverts out there. Nude weddings may be legalised. Have you seen this?
Yes.
This is...
What? You shouldn't be able to see the goods before you're married.
Yeah.
They still wear a veil.
Don't wear the same thing as the bride.
They'll have a garter on, you know they will. To hold up nothing.
Do you get your hair done before the wedding? Guys?
Of course you do.
Okay. Couples may soon be able to get married in their home, the garden, or even in the nude. Nude's a good word, isn't it? I like nude. A wedding could also involve walking down the aisle in a supermarket or leaping from an aeroplane. Flipping...
I thought they could anyway. You can pretty much get married anywhere.
I hate wacky people.
They have to be licensed premises.
Ministers have ordered a rethink in the wake of the legislation that allows gay weddings. The review will look at proposals for sweeping reforms that may permit ceremonies to take place at far wider range of venues. Other organisations seeking to be allowed to conduct weddings is British Naturism. Oh, that is just disgusting. Why would anyone want to get married...
Anyway.
Yeah, but, I mean, naked. It's just disgusting. The group... there was a risk that any group, including those with a cult following, could potentially qualify to be able to run weddings. The groups identified as at risk include political organisations, Jedi Knights, Hell's Angels... and criminal gangs involved in forced marriage. Why would you want to get married in the nud? I hate nudists. I'm a never nude. I'm always got a piece of clothing on.
And they're never committed to full nudism, are they? They've always got socks and sandals on, or a bum bag of some description, and they always carry a towel. If you're going to go nature, go nature.
Perverts.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25 clockwise, there was an accident earlier between junction 15 for the M4 and 16 for the M40. It did move off to the hard shoulder very quickly, but has left some queues behind. On the M25 anti-clockwise, there are queues between junction 20 for Kings Langley and 16 for the M40. And further afield on the M11 southbound, there's a lane closed between junction 8 for Bishop Stortford and 7 for Harlow, so that's making it very slow through there. Looking at the speed sensors in Wendover on the A413 southbound, it's very heavy from Nash Lee Road to the Link Road at Great Missenden, and on the A1 southbound that's very slow between the St Neots Junction and the Black Cat roundabout through the roadworks. On the trains, London Midland and Southern are running a normal service again through the engineering works that happened yesterday at Watford Junction, but Virgin trains have a half-hour delay because of speed restrictions. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
These nude weddings. Did you bring the rings? Yeah. No, the wedding rings.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock. I'm Barry Caffrey. The headlines. 2 deaths in Milton Keynes being linked to streetlights which had been switched off. Disabled commuters in Leighton Buzzard being let down by Network Rail. And illegal road signs in Bucks to be removed.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's emerged that no safety audit was carried out after Milton Keynes Council decided to switch off its streetlights 3 years ago. They were turned back on after a coroner said the lack of light was a contributing factor in the deaths of 2 people. Conservative councillor John Bint was the councillor in charge of transport at the time. He says once it was realised there was an issue with the lights being switched off, the council tried to rectify the situation.
I think what we did is the moment that the concerns began to surface, then both elected councillors and road highway professional officers looked at this situation, realised that they hadn't known as much as they needed to, and took a better decision.
A cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad is to feature on the front cover of the first edition of the satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo, since Islamist gunmen attacked its offices in Paris last week, killing 12 people. Millions of copies are being printed before the magazine goes on sale tomorrow. Chris Morris reports from Paris.
They're calling it the survivors issue, and it looks like the next edition of Charlie Hebdo will pull no punches. An image of the front cover has been released in advance. Under the words, "All is forgiven," it carries a cartoon of a crying Prophet Muhammad holding a sign saying, "Je suis Charlie," the slogan used to express support for the satirical weekly newspaper and for freedom of expression after last week's attacks. The upcoming edition of Charlie Hebdo will have a print run of up to 3 million copies. There's been demand from around the world. Usually only 60,000 are printed.
The chief executive of Morrison's, Dalton Phillips, has announced he's stepping down. The supermarket chain has reported a 3.1% drop in like-for-like sales over Christmas. Network Rail are being accused of letting down disabled commuters in Bedfordshire. A lift system at Leighton Buzzard Station is yet to become operational. The lifts had due to open at the end of last year. Andrew Sellew is the Conservative MP for South West Bedfordshire. He says he will be doing all he can to get the lifts working again.
People are really fed up that this station doesn't have a lift. Many other stations do have lifts. Leighton Buzzard should have had one, frankly, a long time ago. It's really time this was open. But, what I can assure people, I will keep on the tail of Network Rail until we get this sorted, because I'm very, very irritated it's taken so long.
Any unauthorised signs in Buckinghamshire are due to be removed over the next few months. It's been decided that advertising and business display signs can be a hazard. Ruth Vigor is Buckinghamshire County Council Cabinet Member for Transport. She told Iain this morning what will happen.
It's street clutter, isn't it? Street furniture that's not welcomed by the residents. So we're having a big purge, as you quite rightly said, and we're going to start clearing them all away. They're tied to lampposts. They're also put on the pavement, so the public can't always get past them. They obstruct motorist viewpoints. They're a bit of a nuisance, really.
And the weather, it will be a rainy morning for most, with showers heavy in places. They should die out though by mid-morning, leaving a mainly dry day with highs of 4 Celsius. That's 39 in Fahrenheit. Get the latest news online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Morning, Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Talking about streetlights, annoying children, ever gate crashed a funeral, a wedding, a party you shouldn't have been at, annoying instruments, and did the cartoonists who were shot in Paris last week, well, was it their fault? I know, it sounds ridiculous to me, but I've heard that opinion on this show and other shows. Really? It was their fault? Do give us a call. Getting loads of texts on this, but give us a call so we can explore your thinking behind it, please. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Any texters?
Yeah, we have. Paul in Milton Keynes. If you keep poking a crazy man with a stick, he will eventually kill you because he is crazy. Does that mean that no one should say anything in case there's a crazy person about?
Okay, yeah.
That's the question, isn't it, I guess? And Pat says that Dave Luton is a disgrace condoning the actions of those barbaric murderers. I don't think he went that far as to condone it, but he did say that they brought it on themselves.
But also, he's not alone in that view. We've had some texts this morning that have kind of said that, and I'm hoping someone is brave enough to call in and say it.
Pat says they are not human, I think they are, but a vicious army of thugs, many roaming our streets, ready to wreak havoc in our communities.
Pat, be more specific. Do you mean Muslims, or do you mean the criminals that killed in Paris? Because there is a difference.
We have freedoms that have been earned by being involved in 2 world wars, but those freedoms are being taken away by this government reacting to minorities because David Cameron's lot cannot handle what's happening on our streets by those who want their own laws introduced.
I don't get the point of that.
Well, no. Pat's talking about as if there are hordes, an army. There were 4 people involved in this, weren't there?
Yeah, it was hardly an army. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call about this. It's easy. When it's something as tricky as this, you can't really explore it in a text. And let's try and... I don't want a whole anti-Muslim, pro-Muslim kind of rant kind of thing. Let's try and focus on the question, which I don't normally do. Normally I'm kind of up for a broad, open discussion. But let's try and focus on the question for this, please. Did the cartoonists who were shot last week in Paris, did they bring it on themselves? Was it their fault? 08459 455 555. Now... it's been revealed that Milton Keynes Council had serious safety concerns about turning off streetlights months before 2 deaths on darkened roads. The authority planned to look into the potential dangers of the plan, but failed to do so in time to stop the accidents, one of which led to the death of 25-year-old Gary Tompkins. Well, we've been speaking to his mother, Julie Pascoe.
He went to a birthday party. He was walking along one of the main roads in Milton Keynes. The path lights and the main grid road lights were off. There was no other way for him to walk. And a van driver said he didn't see him because it was just too dark. He went to hospital, and unfortunately we had to turn the life support off. It's cost my son's life, just for a few pounds.
Well, Stephen Giles Medhurst is the leader of the Lib Dems on Herts County Council, where lights are still turned off at night. Stephen, are you not concerned for the safety aspects that something similar could happen in Herts?
Yes, I am indeed. This has been our concern since the lights were turned off in 2012 and have been since. Although the police have supported the lights turn off, and thankfully we haven't had the tragic accident that has occurred in Milton Keynes, and clearly my sympathy goes to the family there. Perhaps that's just a bit of luck in terms of Hertfordshire, but there have been concerns about increased thefts, there have been concerns about damage. Luckily, of course, it's the main road lights haven't been switched off in that sense in Hertfordshire, although they are now being dimmed and changed to LED. But I'm still concerned about the fact that lots of side roads, 70% of side roads, have no lighting after midnight.
What's the thinking behind this? Is it purely to save money?
It is purely to save money. The county council has saved nearly £4.5 million by turning off, as I said, thousands and thousands of street lights. They're now looking at changing A, B and C roads to LED to save a similar amount of money. Had they looked at that 2 years ago, they should have been turning all the lights to LED and saving money that way, dimming them, rather than turning the lights off. I think it's a retrograde backward step, returning to the dark ages, effectively, if you use the pun, by turning the lights off.
Have you spoken to residents, and if so, what are their thoughts on the lights being switched off?
The vast majority of residents, particularly in urban areas, are very concerned. The trains don't stop at midnight. Not all pubs and clubs close at midnight equally. People are walking home either from work or leisure activities in the dark. Now, that is wrong.
There isn't any consistency with the Lib Dems, because strangely you're arguing that the lights should be on in some capacity. It was a Lib Dem administration in Milton Keynes that made the decision to turn off the lights.
Well, they have to speak for themselves on that. I'm not speaking for. I'm speaking in terms of Hertfordshire residents and the policy that the Conservatives brought in Hertfordshire.
Stephen, I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you. Stephen Giles Medhurst, who leader of the Lib Dems on Herts County Council.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Nick's on the line. Morning, Nick.
Good morning, Ian.
Nick, what you got for us?
No, I don't think these people who work for Charlie Hebdo deserve to die, just as much as I don't think all these people who were killed in Nigeria by Boko Haram deserve to die, of which the British media didn't devote the same amount of attention.
OK, we'll get to that in a second. The question isn't did they deserve to die, the question is did they bring it on themselves?
No, not in that context. The point I was going to make was the different slant I'd have towards it all is, whereas we're told this was an attack on the free press, I don't regard it as specifically an attack on the free press. I regard it as an attack on a free commercial outlet where they sold news for profit. It is completely different from the free press.
Well, hang on. What is the press? The majority of the press is for profit.
Exactly. I do not regard it as a free press.
No, it doesn't mean free. It doesn't mean free as in you get it for free. It means as in the freedom to say anything you want.
Yeah, they will regulate and distort anything according to of their own interests that makes profits and works in the interests of the government. That is completely different. I'm not saying that they deserve to die for that reason.
The question isn't did they deserve to die, Nick. The question is, did they bring it on themselves? Was it their fault?
No, it wasn't their fault because they were acting legally. They were thinking they were acting legally. It's a bit quite ironic, really, because Charlie Hebdo only had a circulation of 60,000. It was going bust anyway, and it was a very anti-establishment paper anyway, satirising world leaders, business leaders, monarchs, and everything else. And yet, normally there wouldn't have been the slightest bit of concern for it. But you see, when we have to look at things in a far larger context. Papers are regularly annoying and politicians. All these massacres that we see in Nigeria and Peshawar last month at that school where school children were killed. Well, so there's double standards all the way, and this is what I mean, that we don't have a free press. We have a free regulated press, and that is the only different slant I put to what the mass media are portraying on this atrocity that occurred in Paris, where only 12 people were killed.
No, and you're right. There has been very little coverage of the 2,000 people that have been killed in Nigeria by Boko Haram, where they massacred a town. I think I know why it's had less coverage. Why do you think it's had less coverage, Nick?
Well, the reason why is because Britain has many, many business contracts in Nigeria. It all comes back at the end of the day. It all comes back to commercialism. And
hang on a minute. But hang on. So it's a business thing because we've got business contracts in Nigeria. We're not reporting it.
Not in the same vein as we're reporting.
Haven't we got business contracts in France?
Sorry?
Haven't we got business contracts in France?
Oh, yes, we have. Well, it's all part of the EU as well.
So why? I don't know. Explain the thing about why. Because we've got business contracts in Nigeria. That's why it's not been reported.
I'll tell you why it's had a different emphasis in France. Because it's all anti-Islamic. Basically, they can play this politics of fear, which our so-called free press and media are playing every day here.
Okay, tell me why. But Boko Haram are Islamic, aren't they?
They are.
So surely we will be. If your argument held true, then we will be reporting that even more because these are more Islamists and they've killed 2,000 people.
Exactly, but there again, it's their proximity in the world. It's where they are in Nigeria as compared to France. They are.
So But again, that's not true, Nick, because Australia, there was an attack the other week in the chocolate shop, and that was reported. So proximity is not the case either.
It wasn't reported in the same vein as this is doing.
Oh, come on, man. The Australian siege, that was everywhere. We even covered it on this show.
Yes, you did, yes.
Proximity is not the issue.
No, it's just that it all depends on where it is and how much political capital. So our politicians aren't particularly concerned about these people who died out in...
Now we're getting somewhere. And Nick, I've got to let you go. Call again, because I enjoyed that. Now we're getting somewhere. The 2,000 people were killed in a town in Nigeria. They think 2,000 people. You may not have heard that story. You may have done. You won't have heard of as much of it as you've heard about the Charlie Hebdo attacks in Paris, where I think 17 people died. Why is that? Well, I didn't buy... It's nothing to do with proximity, because we heard the Australian siege was all over the press. So it's not proximity. Nick, they're saying it's because, we've got business contracts in Nigeria. Well, we've got business contracts in Paris. Nick's saying, well, because the Paris one was covered because we want to portray the Muslims as the bad guys. Well, the Nigerian people would say they were Muslim.
Do you know what I think? It's because the vast majority of the Western public thinks that that's to be expected over there and not over here.
Should I tell you what I think?
What do you reckon?
It's because they're black.
Do you think?
Yeah, I do. I think it's because it's lots of black people, lots of poor black people in a hot country have been shot, and it's not the same as a few white people in a civilised Western European country have been murdered. But
that's all part of that thing, isn't it? That's what they're like over there.
I think you're right, and I think that's what it is. I think it's as simple as it's
ignorant.
It's totally. 084. Thank you, Nick. I enjoyed that. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25 clockwise, they're accused because of an accident earlier between junction 15 for the M4 and 16 for the M40. On the M40 northbound, that's looking very heavy from Uxbridge towards the M25. And in High Wycombe on Marlow Hill, that's starting to look quite busy too, into High Wycombe on the A404. On the A413 southbound at Wendover, that's very busy looking at the speed sensors between Nashley Road and the Link Road at Great Missenden. And on the A1 southbound, checking where the roadworks are, it's looking quite slow from the St Neots Junction and round the Black Cat roundabout. On the trains, Virgin have possible delays between Milton Keynes Central and London Euston because of the emergency engineering works at Watford Junction yesterday, but London Midland and Southern services are back to normal. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much. 8:17. It's Tuesday, the 13th of January. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Milton Keynes Council had serious concerns about turning off streetlights months before 2 deaths on darkened roads. And a cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad holding a sign saying "Je suis Charlie" is to feature on the front cover of the first edition of the satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo since Islamist gunmen attacked its offices in Paris.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hey up, Chuck.
Hey up.
He's looking smart, he's looking dishy, he's looking delightful and...
dishy?
Dishy, looking dishy, yeah, definitely.
By the way...
Hello.
Have you seen You're Going National? You and Justin holding hands seem to be in every single paper. You're in the Daily Mail today.
Well, are we actually in the paper, or are we just online? I think we're just online.
Probably just
we're
online.
We're international.
International.
We're in France. In my Greek mother-in-law, who gets a Greek daily news feed, it pops up in her news feed. We're in Russia, where, of course, they love gays over there. So,
never go to Russia.
I'm never going to Russia. Pop stars have been in... It's incredible.
Did your wife get a frantic phone call from her mother?
Yeah, say, what's going on here?
Your husband is in the newspapers holding hands with another man.
Her mother's Greek. They invented all of that kind of stuff. No, the video's had like 300, 400,000 views. It's incredible, isn't it?
Well,
it's incredible. And very, very sad. So if you've missed it...
It's a good video.
If you've missed it, it's a video of Justin and I holding hands as we walk through Luton, and we get very weird looks. We get children ushered out of our path, and eventually we get some young lad who does it as we walk past. If you want to see it, it's on the Facebook page, or if you go to YouTube and type in Iain Lee and Justin, it pops up, so you can have a look there.
You'd make a very tall couple, wouldn't you? Really?
This is the thing I thought. We were very tall, and we were both darn good looking, weren't we? That was a thing, darn good looking.
Yes.
No? You disagree?
No, you look like a very handsome couple.
But you're right, very tall.
Yes,
very
tall couple.
What's on your show this morning?
Coming up on the big phone in this morning from 9, do you want the streetlights on all night where you live? I know you've been talking about this morning. The BBC has discovered that more than half of councils which have turned off their streetlights at night failed to carry out a formal risk assessment first. One of those councils, Milton Keynes Council, turned its streetlights back on after a coroner linked 2 deaths to darkness at night. Well, this week, a local paramedic, we're just calling Mark, told the JVS show team that working in the darkness has led to his colleagues getting injured and has made helping those who make emergency calls much harder. But it's not just people's working lives that are being affected. Darker streets affect all of us in a variety of ways. So from 9 this morning, I'd like your reaction to this. Do you want the street lights on all night where you live? In Hertfordshire, where I live, the street lights are turned off at between 11:30 and 12.
Right.
as far as I'm concerned, it's never caused a problem.
Yep.
But I don't know whether I'm just one of the lucky people that generally is in bed at that time.
As I say, you lead quite a conventional, timetabled lifestyle.
But I have had times when I lived in St Albans, which the street lights very often go off at 11:30 in St Albans, or certainly they did. And I went out for an evening, and I got a bit carried away. The Pinot was flowing,
of course,
and all of a sudden I realised it was time to go home.
Yes.
By which point I left, and the main part of St Albans was all illuminated.
Yeah.
But then the minute you go off into a side street, absolute pitch black. There wasn't even the moon that night. I don't know what had happened to the moon. There was no light at all.
What happened to the moon?
I was using my mobile phone, the screen on my mobile phone, to try and illuminate my way home.
That's not going to make you a target for muggers, is it?
No, having had one or two too many Pinot Grigios, and it was a little on the eerie side.
Yes,
but I struggled through in a manly fashion.
Good
but
for you.
I wonder whether ultimately most people would like the streetlights on all night where they live. From 9 this morning, I'd like your reaction on 08459 455 555.
Three Counties Sport isn't just about hearing your team in action.
It'll be Baker, and Baker gets his goal, and history has been made at Stadium MK.
It's about the managers.
He's a great lad, and the culture we have here, he's going to fit right in. So really pleased to have captured someone like that.
The players.
You never get an easy game in the Championship, home or away, usually, and it'll be no different this weekend. And no, we're pretty confident at the moment.
And the fans.
It's been obvious since August we need 1/2 strikers.
Every day we bring you latest news on your local team.
Luton midfielder Luke Rooney signed a contract extension until the end of the season. The 24-year-old originally penned a 6-month deal in the summer.
Three Counties Sport, keeping you up to date with Luton, Watford, MK Dons, Stevenage and Wickham every day of the week on BBC Three Counties Radio.
You're right, Steve?
Yeah, I'm all right. It's the others.
What others?
You don't want to go down that road because I'll upset you.
Well, you won't upset me, Dave. Steve, I probably just think you're more of a plum than usual. Go on, what have you got for us?
See, this is what freedom of speech is.
We've discussed many times you don't have freedom of speech on this show.
Listen. Right, freedom of speech, what is wrong with offending people? At least, if we offend people with words, we're not going to get an AK-47 and shoot each other. We're a bit more classy than the rest of them in society.
What do you mean? Now, Steve, I've got to press you. When you say the rest of them in society...
Well, the terrorists are people that want to stifle freedom of speech. It was hard work this morning.
Yeah, well, you can't even speak, so you don't deserve free speech.
It's hard work, isn't it? Got to be careful what I say, might get arrested.
Well, you might do.
No, anyway, the cartoonists, that is just their free expression. They have the right to do that. If some nut wants to, well, they're not want, but they're idiots. But in this day and age, we have freedom of speech instead of beating each other up. And yet now, freedom of speech is being so much eroded in this country, people are getting seriously frustrated. And it might even come to the stage where people are that frustrated, people might attack other people because they can't say what they want to say. Yeah, when you say what you want to say, people say you can't say it because you offend someone. But I'd rather speak to someone and call them whatever I want to call them, walk off, say my point, and that's it, rather than beat them up.
Doesn't it depend if what you want to call them is justified or not?
It doesn't matter. I don't care what anyone says to me. It doesn't matter if someone says something to me about my mother or anything else. I'll just say, whatever, and just walk off. I won't start beating them up or shooting them with a machine gun or whatever. That's what freedom of speech is all. Well, to me, I might be wrong slightly, but there are limits.
Wrong, Steve? No, never.
Well, I have to own up. It's not everyone else. It can be me.
What if someone insulted someone who was weaker than you? Would you take it up with them? You'd defend them, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, I'd defend them. I'd verbally defend them. Like someone had a go at. If somebody had a go at like the mentally ill who don't know any better and people like that, you'd speak up. That's still freedom of speech, isn't it?
That, in a twisted way, is what these people think they're doing. They're speaking up for a minority that they feel are being wronged.
Yeah, but not with guns and bombs, do ya? I mean, if we've got people around that in the world that are like that, and we let people in this country that have got them ideas, we should ship them out, find out where they are, and boot them out and put them somewhere else, because we don't want their rubbish.
Now we're going off on a slight tangent, which I'll indulge...
No, we're not.
Well, we are.
I'm not.
Well, you are, and I'll indulge it for 45 seconds. Where are you going to ship them to?
I don't care, as long as it's not in Britain. We're defending our way of life.
You can't just boot people out of the country that live here.
What? Because they hate our way of life. They want to kill us, and a certain amount of people in this country. Why do I personally don't want people walking down the street that I know don't like our way of life? They want to kill us.
There's not that... Well, first of all, there's not that many people.
Well, give it a rake, will you? You're having a laugh. You want to wise up a bit.
Steve, say hello to Jeffrey.
Hello, Jeffrey. Who's Jeffrey?
I'm me.
You are?
I am me.
Who's me?
Jeffrey.
Stop the wordplay flirting and get to the point. Jeffrey, what do you think of what Steve just said?
Well, I think he's expressing probably what a lot of people think and feel in street-level terminology, that they don't quite understand why people would choose to come and live in this country knowing it's a free liberal democracy, knowing that freedom of speech is an innate part of our historical development, knowing that we're tolerant of all kinds of religious beliefs and ideas.
We're too tolerant. That's why we're in trouble. Well, we're too tolerant. There's tolerance and there's tolerance. At the end of the day, I can tolerate most people, but I can't tolerate people that dislike this country so much that they want to do something to us physically. Surely it doesn't make sense.
No, I think you've got a valid point, and I would argue with Anjem Chowdhury, who says it's the correct procedure under Sharia law to execute someone who offends.
Listen, we're going off on tangents. Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Did those was it? Bless you. Was it the cartoonist's fault they got shot?
No, not
Steve,
at all.
was it the cartoonist's fault they got shot? Steve?
No, it wasn't.
Thank you very much indeed. We got there in the end. Flippin' heck. How did Jeffrey sneak through the radar? Huh? How did Jeffrey sneak through the radar? 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Do we have any texts?
Yes.
Go on then. I really need a wee-wee.
Free speech is a fallacy. I cannot say what I really think. No one can, says Brian.
Well, free speech doesn't exist in the majority of content. You do not have, and I've said this before, on a phone-in radio show in this country, you do not have free speech. You don't. You can't swear and you can't libel people. So instantly there are two massive blocks on what you want to say.
But as we've heard from some of our callers in the past, you can be quite offensive.
Yeah. Oh, you can be offensive. Yeah, I'm not bothered about that.
But then other people have the freedom to come on and say they're offended.
But as we've discussed before, being offended means nothing. I'm offended. I'm offended by what you said about my mum. I'm offended by the dress you're wearing. I'm offended by the way Justin walks. It doesn't mean anything. The
answer to that is, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. And the offence comes from me. If I'm offended, I've allowed myself to be offended. You've said something, and that's triggered something in me that has made myself be offended. You've not offended me. I've offended me.
You mentioned there in the list of things that can be offensive.
Yes.
What you said about my mum. I don't understand that.
No, I don't get it.
If someone's saying something about your mum that doesn't know your mum.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
You're grown up.
Your mum's so fat.
She's not, though.
Your mum is so stinky.
She's not, though.
She's a bit stinky.
She's not.
Your
mum,
she does stink a bit.
She's lovely, but, this is not true.
It's weird, isn't it? Yeah.
So I criticise my mum that knew her, then I would be offended.
I used to get really angry when I was at school when people would say things about my mum, really angry. And then it kind of dawned on me, I don't matter.
They're not really talking about your mum.
Yeah. People are funny, aren't they? 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In Milton Keynes, the A421 is partially blocked in both directions between Wadham Road and the Stonebeck Crescent at the Bottle Dump roundabout. That's because of an accident involving a lorry and 3 cars. On the M40 northbound, that's looking very busy from the A40 at Uxbridge towards the M25. And looking at the M1 southbound on the cameras, it's looking quite slow now between junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road and 9 for Redbourne. On the M11 southbound, there's still a lane closed between junction 8 for Bishop Stortford and 7 for Harlow. On the trains, Virgin have delays between Milton Keynes Central and London Euston, but London Midland and Southern services are running fine. And if you're heading into London or if you're in Watford this morning, the 24-hour bus strike has begun. That's affecting most bus routes, but tickets are being accepted on the Underground. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8:30 with the headlines. I'm Barry Caffrey. It's emerged that no safety audit was carried out after Milton Keynes Council decided to switch off its streetlights 3 years ago. They were turned back on after a coroner said the lack of light was a contributing factor in the deaths of 2 people. A cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad holding a sign saying Je suis Charlie is to feature on the front cover of the first edition of the satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo since Islamist gunmen attacked its offices in Paris last week. 3 million copies of the issue will be printed. The chief executive of Morrison's, Dalton Phillips, has announced he's stepping down. The supermarket has reported a 3.1% drop in sales over Christmas. It's to close 10 loss-making stores. Network Rail are being accused of letting down disabled commuters in Bedfordshire. A lift system at Leighton Buzzard station is yet to become operational. The lifts had due to be open at the end of last year. And the weather, it will be a rainy morning for most, with showers heavy in places. They should die out later on this morning, leaving a mainly dry day with highs of 4 Celsius.
3 Counties Sports.
BBC 3 Counties Radio.
Cristiano Ronaldo has won FIFA's Ballon d'Or World Footballer of the Year. Our senior football reporter Iain Dennis has more.
It's the second successive year and a third time overall that Ronaldo has claimed this prestigious award. He described it as an unforgettable year in which he scored 52 goals in 43 games in 2014. With just over 37% of the votes, Ronaldo was a convincing winner ahead of Lionel Messi and goalkeeper Manuel Neuer. German midfielder Nadine Kessler was named Women's Player of the Year, but there was no award for Ireland's Stephanie Roach for Goal of the Year. The prize instead went to Colombia's James Rodriguez for his goal against Uruguay in the World Cup.
Chelsea manager Jose Mourinho has until 6 p.m. this evening to respond to an FA misconduct charge in relation to comments that he made following Chelsea's game against Southampton on the 28th of December. Mourinho claimed that there was a campaign to influence referees' decisions against his side. Fast bowler James Anderson has told the BBC that he believes England will go a long way in the Cricket World Cup, which starts next month. Anderson thinks England will benefit from the lack of expectation going into the competition.
The danger for other teams is if they take us lightly, because we've got young lads who have very little pressure on them. They're just going to play with freedom, and I honestly think that we've got a great chance of going a long way in this competition. And I know people will scoff at that, but as an England team, I know the majority of us feel like that, and the fact that we have been written off will definitely work in our favour.
And the women's darts BDO finalist Fallon Sherrock says she enjoyed the experience at Lakeside. Sherrock, who's from Milton Keynes, was beaten 3-1 by Lisa Ashton on Saturday.
I knew what I was expecting this time, so I didn't feel like under pressure or anything like that, and I was used to all the noise in the background and the publicity and stuff like that, but this time it's just gone really like a lot. I mean, I was travelling back on the train today and 2 people stopped me. I was like, oh my God, I'm a celebrity.
BBC 3 Counties Radio News and Sport. I'll be back with a full bulletin at 9.
Call 08459 455 555.
Yeah.
BBC 3 Counties Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, Fallon Sherrock. There we go. That is someone local and vocal.
Well, not that vocal. We can't get her on the phone.
No, we can't get her on the phone. Maybe we'll get her in the week. But she's a local sporting hero, and it's a proper sport. It's darts, and she's enthused. She's loving it. She's loving it. Let's hope she never loses that excitement and passion.
In other words, let's hope she never goes professional, because at the moment it's a hobby and she's really enjoying it.
What are we talking about, Kath?
We're talking about all kinds. Things your children do in the back of the car to annoy you. Yep. Also, what? Funerals you've crashed. I didn't tell you about the buffet story, did I?
Hey, yeah, go on.
My gran and her husband go to this restaurant once every sort of 2 weeks or so, and a couple of weeks ago they went along there and were surprised to find that some family were sort of walking around like they own the place. So sort of Gran and Terry took their place in their usual table and waited for the waiting staff to turn up. Nothing.
Oh dear.
And then they noticed everyone was kind of helping themselves, sort of cold meats and like pork pies and that.
Beautiful. Love a pork pie.
So they grabbed a plate, joined the back of the queue, filled up, sat down, went back again.
Yeah, fantastic.
Bit of trifle.
Yeah,
sat down again, looked around, realised everyone was wearing black ties. It was a wake.
Hey!
It was a private wake.
They gate crashed a private wake.
So they didn't have any cake. That would be wrong, but they finished their trifle.
Did they just get up and go?
No, they stopped, I think. No one noticed.
and start sharing some stories.
Who's going to question two old people?
No, that's wonderful. How wonderful.
I think someone did ask how they knew Malcolm.
Yeah.
And they sort of went,
She used to have it away with him.
No.
I can't wait to be old and get away with things like that.
You can. I think if you were a young person, you wouldn't get past the beige course, would you?
No.
Or anything like that.
So we're talking about that. 08459 455 555. And prompted by a call we had an hour ago from Dave, who said that while the cartoonists who were shot at Charlie Hebdo didn't deserve it, it was probably their fault.
Yeah, they brought it on themselves.
They knew that they were winding people up, and they were winding up the kind of people that like to go around with guns. Really? It was their fault? No. Matt in Luton.
Hello.
Good morning, Matt.
I don't think Dave meant it the way you're putting it.
Well, no,
you're going over the top again.
Matt, that's what Dave said.
Yes, but he didn't mean it.
Well, hang on a second. If Matt, come on, even by your standards, that's poor. If people say something, I have to assume that's what they mean.
Can I say what I've phoned up about to say?
Yeah, please do, but you're sucking the life out of the show again.
No, I'm not sucking the life. What I'm saying is this. We've now got... They've decided they're going to... have 3 million of these magazines out, and they've really there's millions and millions of Muslims, and they're good people, but you'll get the odd one or two that's going to do the damage. You know that, because they can't take it and they just let go.
Right, so we should give up, should we?
No, we don't give up. We don't antagonise them too much.
Well, that's giving... Well, hang on a minute. If you don't antagonise them, then that's... If you deliberately don't antagonise them, that's giving up, isn't it?
Sorry, Ian, you're not getting the point. You've got the same thing in this country.
Try and explain the point better, then, Matt.
You have got exactly the same thing in this country with your magazines like Private Eye.
Private Eye is nothing like it's nothing like Charlie Hebdo. Private Eye is quite tame and hasn't been funny for about 30 years.
It's still insulting to some people.
Oh, it's insulting to people like Tony Blair.
Yeah, well, Tony Blair...
Tony Blair's not going to go nuts with an AK-47, is he?
But we don't know, do we?
That's true, actually. Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know.
It's unlikely, I would have thought.
Because it's a waste of time me talking to you, because you won't listen to what Dave... You're turning it around.
I'm saying what Dave said. How is that turning it around, Matty Bum Bum?
You're turning it around too far.
Hey, Matty Bum Bum, calm down.
You make me bloody sick.
Hey, Matty Bum Bum, calm down.
Yeah.
Hey, Matty Bum Bum, calm down.
There you go. You're doing exactly...
Hey, Matty Bum Bum. Hey, Matty Bum Bum. Calm down. Hey, Matty Bum Bum. Calm down.
Hey, Fatty Bum Bum.
Calm down.
Sweet sugar dumpling.
Calm down.
Hey, Fatty Bum Bum.
Calm down.
Let me tell you something.
Calm down.
No, not because you're so big and fat. Don't believe I'm afraid of that. Self-praise is no recommendation. I'm looking for creation. Hey, Fatty Bum Bum.
Calm down.
Sweet sugar dumpling.
Calm down.
Hey, Fatty Bum Bum.
Calm down.
Let me tell you something.
Calm down.
Did I look like mouse on a $1 bread? I wouldn't stop trying till I drop down dead. Never let your big size fool you. The cooler day of the cool you.
Calm down. Hey, Matty Bum Bum. Calm down. Hey, Matty Bum Bum. Calm down. Hey, Matty Bum Bum. Calm down.
Did I look like a mouse on a $1 bread? I wouldn't stop trying till I drop down dead. Never let your big size fool you. The cooler day of the cool you. Hey, Fatty Bum Bum.
Calm down.
The sweet sugar dumpling.
Calm down.
Hey, Fatty Bum Bum.
Calm down.
Let me me tell you something.
Calm down.
Say not because you're so big and fat. Don't believe I'm afraid of that. Self-praise is no recommendation. I'm the king from creation. Hey, fatty boom boom.
Calm down.
Sweet sugar dumpling.
Calm down.
Hey, fatty boom boom.
Calm down.
Calm down. Matt?
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 Have you calmed down, Matty Bum Bum? I think he's calmed down.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Lee's on the line. Good morning, Lee.
Morning.
What would you like to say, sir?
Well, I was talking about funerals. Last year, my brother-in-law rang me up and said that this old boy who used to watch us play football had died. We didn't know him that well, but we knew his son and we thought we'd go along. So I met him on a Tuesday, we went down there, went in the crematorium, and we sat in there, and people started coming in, and we weren't going to recognise anyone anyway, really.
No.
We didn't see anyone, you know, and this old boy George, we thought, oh, well, you know, we went out of, you know, out of respect like you do.
Yeah.
And it filled up, and the old guy started talking away, and we thought, well, we still don't know anyone, but at least we've turned up, you know, makes us feel bad.
Makes you feel better.
Well, he started talking about this 80-year-old woman called June.
Did she like football?
I said, his name wasn't June, was it?
His name wasn't June. So you gone there? What? You gone there too early, had you, Lee?
We've gone a week early. We got a week early. I said to him, check your phone. We couldn't get up and get out. We couldn't go out. I said, check your phone. He checked his phone. Yeah, we're here a week early, he said. We both had a day off work and everything, got dressed up.
And you stayed for the whole funeral?
We had to stay, and then, we sort of shook hands with a few people we didn't know, and we went off down the pub.
You went with them?
We made a day of it. We went to Stony Stratford.
Did you hang out with the... Did you go to the wake afterwards?
Yeah, well, only for a little while.
Only for a little while?
Oh, that's all right, then.
But then we went to the funeral the following week, George's funeral, and obviously everyone had heard about it, so we were the talk of the day, you know. But the food was better at June's.
Oh, June sounds like a really special woman. Lee, thank you so much for that. Oh, put that in the pod. What a lovely... Got a week early! But they went down the boozer! Only for a while. Oh, Lee, have we spoken to Lee before? I don't recognise that voice. Well, if that's a first call, mate, then that's a cracking first call. Thank you. 08459 455 555. Tony's in Milton Keynes. Morning, Tony.
Good morning, Ian.
What would you like to say, sir?
Right, whilst what happened in France was a terrible thing, can I just sort of put some perspective on it?
Please do.
10 years earlier, we had 7/7, which was the bombing of the London Underground trains and the bombing of the buses, OK?
Yes.
Right, 52 people were killed there and 700 were injured. Do you remember anything similar to the Paris thing where world leaders came over, arm to arm, marching with great sympathy for what had happened to the French? Do you know why we didn't get sympathy?
Well,
because we were right in the middle of the Iraq War and also in Afghanistan. At that time, Britain was a pariah on the world stage.
Yep.
Nobody bothered with us, did they?
Well, I think there was an outpouring of international sympathy for what had happened. I guess the difference... these words are coming to me as I'm thinking them, Tony, so they might come across a bit clunky.
I don't mind.
No, I appreciate your patience. I suppose the difference is that these people were the people in Paris were deliberately targeted for them expressing their free speech. All of the people that were murdered on 7/7, it was bad luck. When I say bad luck, I mean simply they happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. It could have been anybody. The thugs on that day weren't that bothered who they killed as long as they killed someone. In Paris, they targeted people.
It was for a cause of a similar nature that they were protesting against us taking part in Iraq and Afghanistan. So there was a cause that they would a cause celeb for them anyway.
Did the cartoonists? Was it their fault, Tony?
No, but I'm going to be a cynic here. Did you know that that magazine was nearly bankrupt?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And it's going to sell 3 million copies this week.
And before that, they put a request out to their subscribers and the public, 'cause they were so broke.
Oh, they went for a bank loan. The bank turned them down.
Yeah, and the subscriptions they got and the donations they got to keep the magazine going was zero from the French public.
So you said you're being cynical. You're not saying that they got murdered so the magazine could keep running?
No, I don't. I know. Even I, in my most wicked state, would never suggest that.
But so what are you suggesting, Tony?
That nobody was bothered with them at the time.
Yeah.
Now that they are using it as a sort of, I don't know, a form of carrier to use them as their call celeb as well. Now it's just cynical.
Tony, I appreciate your call. We get some really good, strong calls this morning from voices that I don't recognise. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In Little Hallwood on the A421, that's closed because of the accident between lorry and 3 cars at Little Hallwood Road. So that's police confirming that it's slightly west of Wadham Road and it's causing some delays between Buckingham and Milton Keynes. In Hitchin on Parkway, there are long queues at Paynes Park with queues to Hexton Road and Carter's Lane, and on the A602 Stevenage Road 2 through the roadworks. In Watford, Chalk Hill is looking very busy on the speed sensors around Aldenham Road at the Bushy Arches, and checking the motorways, the M14 northbound, that's very busy from the A40 at Uxbridge to the M25, and also the M1 southbound's very slow but around junction 11 for Dunstable Road. On the trains, Virgin have delays between Milton Keynes Central and London Euston because of emergency engineering works at Watford Junction, but there are no delays showing up at the moment for London Midland and Southern services. Samantha Braff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Samantha. 8:46. It is Tuesday, the 13th of January. It's my son's 5th birthday, and these are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. It's emerged that no safety audit was carried out after Milton Keynes Council decided to switch off its streetlights 3 years ago. The lack of lighting has been linked to the deaths of 2 people. And the Charlie Hebdo magazine features a cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad on the front cover of its latest edition, the first since the attacks on its offices in Paris last week. 08459 455 555. Let's get the weather. Here's Kate.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Well, the rain just about cleared our counties this morning. We have got some bright skies towards the west of Milton Keynes and High Wycombe, and eventually all the cloud will disappear. We'll get some nice sunny spells. Potentially, however, we could be seeing 1 or 2 heavy showers make their way towards us as we head through the afternoon. And in turn, the further west and north you are, it could actually turn a little wintry in nature. Now, the temperature's going to get colder as we head through the day. We're looking at it ending up around 8 or 9 Celsius. Now, the Met Office has issued a yellow weather warning for Buckinghamshire for snow and ice, valid from 6 o'clock this evening through to tomorrow morning. Now, we could get some slow flurries, particularly towards higher ground, the Chilterns. It could start to accumulate there. Not too much, but it could cause a problem if you're out driving, and also some ice likely to form as well as the temperature drops down to 0. As we head through to tomorrow morning, a chilly, frosty start to the day. Any showers remaining will continue for a time, but eventually clear by lunchtime. Then some dry, sunny conditions through the middle part of the day. Through tomorrow afternoon, we'll start to see the cloud arrive, the temperature turns a little milder, and that's when our next Met Office early yellow weather warning is in force for strong winds. We could see gusts of 50, 65 miles per hour through tomorrow evening and overnight into Thursday. And that's your forecast.
Did you know you can get in touch with BBC Three Counties Radio wherever you are?
Via Twitter at BBC3CR.
Join us on Facebook, facebook.com/BBC3CR.
Call us on 08459 455 555. Or text us on 81333 and start your message with 3CR.
Local and vocal across Beds, Herts and Bucks. BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, Ada.
Morning, Ian.
What would you like to say, Ada?
You are so...
So, I'm so what? Your phone cut out just at the vital word in that sentence.
You are so annoying, Ian. Seriously.
Why am I annoying?
That was such an annoying song. Matty Bum Bum should come and get you and crack your head with them.
What was annoying about Matty Bum Bum? What was annoying?
That was a really annoying song.
It's a good song.
It was funny.
Have you got a fatty bum bum? Is that what it is? Have you got a fatty bum bum?
Yeah. I have a fatty bum bum.
Yeah, bring it. This song celebrates fatty bum bums. Ada, come and sing. You ready? You going to sing with me, yeah? You're going to join in, Ada, and together we're going to celebrate your fatty bum bum and wait for the complaints to come rolling in. Here we go. You ready? Hey, fatty bum bum, calm down.
Sweet sugar dumpling,
calm down.
Sing it, Ada.
Sing it, Ada. Come on, fatty bum bum.
Calm down.
You sweet sugar dumpling. You're not having it, Ada? It's lovely to hear you laugh, my dear. Ta-ta. This is a tune, eh, Dealey?
Hey, fatty bum bum.
Calm down. A sweet sugar dumpling. Calm down. Someone will complain. This will undo all of the good that we've done in the last 7 days, Justin.
Hey, listen,
I apologise.
it's a tune with a capital T. Accept it, move on.
Calm down.
You're coming round to the reggae, aren't you? Going down the reggae route.
This is a soft skank. It's a soft skank, and I can deal with a soft skank. I mean, when Bob Marley popped up in your car yesterday, A, gave me the fright of my life, and B, I just thought it was rubbish. Utter rubbish. Are you kissing your hand?
No, I'm tutting.
No tuts from you, boss, please. 08459 455 555. Now, Justin, we've
By
got
the way, this is annoying someone because I keep getting anonymous texts from someone who says, and there's typing now!
Oh, yes.
And I can hear mouses now! Mice.
We're a busy live studio. Erna's on the line. Morning, Erna.
Good morning.
What would you like to say?
Thank you for a fantastic drive to work. Listening to Hey Fatty Bum Bum, and then the gentleman who went to the wrong funeral.
Hang on a second. Hey Fatty Bum Bum, Calm down. Sweet sugar dumpling, calm down. Hey Fatty Bum Bum, calm down. We were blessed. We were blessed, Erna, to get that. Wasn't that call about going to the wrong funeral just wonderful?
Oh, that was just so funny. I've arrived at work in tears.
Good. Well, no, hang on, no bad. No. Listen, it's nice to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. If you missed it, both those things will be in the podcast. Was it Lee, wasn't it, who went to a funeral a week...
Early Lee.
A week early. Morning, Tel. Terry?
I'll tell him right now.
Terry, hello?
Hello.
Hello, Terry, you're on the air. What would you like to say?
I'm here like, hey, fatty bum bum,
Hey!
I tell him out, mate, you've done it. It's brilliant.
Have you got a fatty bum bum, Terry?
I've got it, man. I've got it. I tell you what, you're brilliant.
Well,
you're A-class one, I tell you.
A-class, Terry, thank you very much. You got, hey, fatty bum bum,
calm down.
Sweet sugar dumpling, calm down. There we go.
Because you're so big and fat. Don't be.
He sings it so gently.
Self-praise is
If I ever go on Stars in Their Eyes, they ever ask me again, which they won't, I'm going on doing this. Yeah, well, I don't know, you're not allowed to. Hey, fatty bum bum, calm down. Sweet sugar dumpling, calm down, etc., etc., etc. We're going to something quite serious, so I feel the need to do this. Hang on one second. Oh, blimey, hang on a second. I've got to have some standards.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Right. Even I feel we need to break things up from time to time. Justin, we had a call from Dave from Luton.
Yep.
Who said that while the cartoonists who were shot in Paris didn't deserve it, they brought it upon themselves. We've had a few texts and a couple of calls kind of saying the same thing, and I've heard this elsewhere. Had it just come from Dave from Luton's mouth, I would have dismissed it as the whimsy of a lunatic.
Yep.
But I've heard it from lots of other people, that the cartoonists who got shot, they brought it on themselves.
Yes.
We asked you to take it to the street. It's a tough one.
I have. A lot of people didn't want to talk about this morning, didn't want to give their opinion, which would then be used on our radio programme. However, some people did speak. We asked them that question. Here's what people had to say.
That is seriously. If I say something that insults someone, they what? Worse, they give me a bloody nose. Yeah? Shut up. Yeah. Or whatever. Go around shooting people indiscriminately. No, it's just terrorism.
Yeah, madam, your honest thoughts. What was it their fault?
It's no one's fault that someone should be killed for doing something. Everyone has a right of an opinion. it's unfair that someone should be killed for saying something, whether someone else thinks it's right or wrong.
I think both parties are wrong. Both of them.
OK, so bearing in mind what you're saying then, was it their fault they paid the ultimate price?
No, that wasn't right for the people to do, no. I don't agree with that. You shouldn't really aggravate anything that's sensitive to someone else, you see.
So by aggravating things, was it their fault?
They were asking for like a reaction, so I don't know.
Well, it sounds to me like you think it was their fault.
We're not saying it's their fault, we're just saying by doing it, they knew something could happen. And they did what they did.
They did what they did.
Exactly. I think a lot of people this morning were holding back for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I think we kind of got a bit of a gist of that there towards the end when pushed slightly. But, yeah, very controversial. And we heard from Dave earlier on. I've heard a couple of people as well. Me personally, I think that's utter nonsense what Dave said earlier on. But of course, everyone is entitled to their opinion.
And that's the beauty of it. Everyone's entitled to their opinion and they are allowed to express that opinion.
Exactly.
Justin, good stuff, mate. Speak to you later.
Thank you, boss.
Ta-ta.
Down.
Got Texas on this as well.
Oh, yeah, go on.
Henry from Biggleswade. It doesn't make a bit of difference whether someone puts a picture of the Prophet Muhammad in a book. These people are just out to cause misery and are brainwashed into believing that terrorism is OK. It's about time religion was banned as it causes too much trouble.
Oh, OK. Well, that's never going to happen, but thanks.
And free speech, says Nick in South Mims, says that if we bomb and invade Muslim countries, then their extreme elements will attack Western targets. It's simple.
Yep.
So that makes it sound like it's all of our fault.
Yeah, I can understand that point of view, really. That's it. That's your lot. Are there any more texts, or are we done with the texts? Give us a couple more.
Mark in Bedford, concerned about whether there are repercussions following the publication of the next issue and people not related in any way to Charlie Hebdo are killed or injured. Will Charlie Hebdo be at fault in any way? On a different angle, do you think some of the stares that you and Justin may have been subjected to in the street because you were holding hands were because people knew the man off the radio?
It's possibly.
Mark in Bedford.
Possibly, yes. Possibly some of them were. I doubt that a child would have been ushered out of my path.
Although...
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention this the last couple of days. We do this new thing on Fridays between 7:30 and 8 where we open the doors. You can turn up a little bit earlier, but between 7:30 and 8 you are invited into my studio, only on Fridays, and you get to sit in the studio with me and Catherine and have a chat with us. You don't need a talent, you don't need a skill, you don't need anything. You just need to turn up. It's as simple as that. On Friday, you missed it, Catherine, we were spoilt.
Oh, I heard it and I was gutted.
Mr. T turned up.
I know.
Britain's premier Mr. T impersonator turned up, and wasn't he the nicest man, Kelly?
Yep, and he smelled delicious.
Smelled lovely.
And he brought us chocolate.
He did. Oh, there's some chocolates in your pigeonhole.
I found those. I didn't know who they were from.
They were from Mr. T.
Oh.
So they're safe and they're still sealed, so that's good. You don't have to bring food. You don't have to dress up. You don't have to have a talent or anything. If people have said, "Oh, but I'll have the kids with me," bring the kids in. Bring your nan. If you want to
come and have a chat. That's all it is.
Come and have a chat. And I'm slightly worried that by Mr. T turning up, who was excellent. And boy, didn't we find out a lot about him and him growing up. That people, it sets such a high bar that people will think, I've got nothing like that to offer, so they'll be reluctant to turn up. Not at all. Forget that. He was excellent, but I want you, dear listener, to turn up on a Friday between 7:30 and 8 o'clock and come and sit in the studio and have a chat with us. That's it. Maybe you want to know how a studio works. Maybe you want to know what Catherine looks like. Maybe you're just really, really cold and you're walking past at 7:30 on a Friday. They're all legitimate responses. You can turn up and come in. And if you want to hear Mr. T, he's on last week's podcast, which you can get from the Three Counties website, or if you go to iTunes and type in Iain Lee and BBC.
Was it a good one last week? I haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, it was good.
It
was a good one, man.
Didn't miss me at all.
Not in the slightest. No, not in the slightest. If anything, it kind of added.
It was good, wasn't it?
It was good.
We had lots of fun.
OK, I get it.
We had so much fun.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The A421 between Buckingham and Milton Keynes is closed because of a serious accident between a lorry and 3 cars, so traffic's at a standstill on the approach while the emergency services are there. On the M25 anti-clockwise, that's looking very busy between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 15 for the M4. And having a look at the trains, Virgin have delays between Milton Keynes Central and London Euston because of emergency engineering works at Watford Junction. That's not affecting London Midland and Southern services. And if you're in Watford or if you're heading into London today, the bus strike is underway, so that's affecting most bus routes, but tickets are valid on the London Underground. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. Excellent stuff as always. Well, that was a mixed bag, wasn't it? Excellent work, Justin. Thank you, Kelly. Catherine, it's nice to have you back. JVS is up next until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning from us. Ta-ta.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Iain. Good morning. Welcome to the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon-Smith. It's Tuesday, it's 9 o'clock, and on today's big phone-in, do you want the streetlights on all night where you live? The BBC has discovered that more